Hello, guys. It is Hunter Unit 751, and we're here for another podcast following on from the Spider-Man podcast, which was filmed last week. Please don't think we're turning these podcasts into a weekly event. We are here for another Sasuke podcast. Sasuke 39 is going to be happening this Christmas break. A renewal course, the beginning of maybe another new era, we hope. I have Puma, as per usual, and
Hello.
Crown Ferret, aka Irish, here with me.
Great to be here as part of the new weekly Extreme UK Gaming podcast series.
This is going to become a real thing, actually. This is
it's like the Rooster
Rebirth
Teeth podcast. Oh, no.
It's like how Sasuke
Flame, who was here last year, will be joining us at some point, hopefully not too far into it.
He's just finishing his haircut.
Hopefully he gets back before we get to the predictions. But, Puma, you're taking the lead here, so why don't you talk about what we're going to be talking about?
As we go into the Sasuke Rebirth era, very excited, although the Rebirth era doesn't seem to be a full rebirth or full renewal as some people had hoped. We're going to first talk about the stages and the obstacles. So we have very few changes overall. Stage 1, the time limit is pretty strict at 99 seconds. The silk slider has only one silk instead of two, although it was hypothesized that the platform would be changed, but from images it looks like it hasn't. The fishbone, I believe, is flipped so that the yellow part spins first and then the red. I believe that is the case. And then we have the double warp wall making its first appearance since Sasuke 30. Stage 2 is unfortunately the exact same. And Stage 3 has the flying shelf grab replacing the...
Yeah, it's called the falling shells, technically. But...
Falling shelves? Oh, my bad.
That's all good.
Replacing the planet bridge, and now every cliffhanger on the cliffhanger dimension moves to add a little bit of extra. And then our final stage, we have a rock wall. So I'm excited about the rock wall. I'm really happy about that. So yeah, I guess, what are y'all's reactions to all of the changes or lack of changes in Sasuke 39?
Do you want me to go, Hunter, or do you want to go?
Yeah, you go for it, Harsh.
Yeah, I think overall, right, we're in an era of Sasuke where you can't expect a ton of changes. And I talked with, I forget who I was talking to about this the other night, but at this point, right, I'm perfectly content with it because the quality of fields in Sasuke compared to ANW and like the National Ninja League and really a whole lot of other countries in general, the quality of field is a lot lower. There's a lot of countries where you go, okay, this guy's probably the top guy, but there's multiple contenders. And with the way Sasuke is now, I mean, unless someone really comes out of the woodwork and really proves otherwise, like almost wins, it's basically Yusuke is the far and away number one. So if you're going to redesign a course just for Yusuke to try to fail a stage 1 or a stage 2, you're going to kill everybody, right? So
yeah, that's a really good point.
The last few tournaments, I've actually really enjoyed the stage 1 with them being a little bit shorter. Obviously, the wall at the end, I've loved. I don't know if 99 seconds is the actual time limit for stage 1, but it definitely seems like stage 1 is going to be a lot down to the walls as far as the difficulty again. But I think overall, really, stage 1 is not going to kill a ton of people that are good, as it has in the past few tournaments. But I think, the people that are deserving of it will probably have a pretty good chance of clearing if they get by the Dragon Glider and don't script the walls. And then stage 2, I really liked last time, so I'm excited to see it again. Obviously, the rolling log element last time was really cool. And then stage 3, I mean, obviously isn't a ton different, but I think that assuming the falling shells are like A&W this year, where it's got a reverse catch, I don't think any of the Japanese competitors have ever trained a reverse catch. So I think that thing could absolutely massacre people, and I'm really intrigued to see how they set it up. Overall, obviously, I wouldn't have minded a complete renewal, but I think for the limited budget and everything, I'm intrigued to see what happens with the obstacles and stuff.
Yeah, I think it
Um,
was a really good point that you brought up about the warp wall being the last obstacle and how much that has impacted the stage one, where it's become almost speed oriented. I wasn't a big fan of it at first. I thought it was going to make the stage too easy, but realizing that how strict the time limits have been and people are making mistakes because they're either rushing or they push the tackle too hard and they get tired, like the double warp wall on top of that is going to be even extra. And I didn't even think about the reverse grab as well as an impact, so that's going to be very fascinating to see as well.
do we know if the double warped wall is the same as it was in its original format, or if like the first warped wall is actually difficult now? Um, Maybe
I
not like the
believe,
same height as the second one, because obviously the second one will be considered to be the harder one. But
I
Yeah.
believe it's the same, same as it used to be when
okay,
the double warp ball was first
because
in tournament.
I've been in the last few months. So this is we're talking like ages ago. I managed to find a website where Sasuke 28 was on it, and I downloaded it, and then somewhere down the line, I couldn't find that web. I lost that website, or I couldn't find that website anymore. I think like my internet history got wiped or something. But then
Mm.
recently, I managed to find the website again, and I've been downloading. I think I have 29, 30, 31, and 32 downloaded. So obviously that 28, 29, 30 period has allowed me to see a lot of double warped wall again. Since we're on the conversation of the double warped wall, it's just like it's yeah. The first warped wall is like if anyone's ever been to a ninja park, like one of those adventure parks in the UK, the warped wall
Yeah.
there is like it's the first warped wall is that level of easiness. Like anyone can get up it. Any
Yeah.
average guy can get up. Should be able to get up that first warped wall, even with their legs knackered from pushing 800 kilos of tackle.
I mean, not only is it a shorter wall, but like like kind of like what you said, the angle of ascent on that is very,
Yeah.
very shallow. Like if it was
Yeah.
I've seen walls right where in the National Ninja League and stuff where it's a 12-foot wall, but it's super steep and it's actually somewhat difficult. I mean, it's basically a 13-foot like half pipe, for lack of a better term, as far as the
Yeah.
angle of it. So genuinely, like I'm with you. I kind of would prefer if they, and we don't know 100%, I don't think, but I would enjoy if they found a way to do um, both warp walls at the same height, or having both at 14, because like you said, the first wall at 13 or whatever isn't really that much of a factor, especially if you get to that point and it's the final obstacle. Like obviously you've beaten a lot of really difficult things to get there.
I
The
think
one
it's
thing
like
that
I think the level of easiness with it is so easy that and I'm only quoting this guy because I saw his run in 31 recently. I think it's so easy that I think even Kenjiro Ishimaru, who was the slowest guy ever, the actor guy at running at warped walls, I think even he could get up the first wall. Um,
Mm,
What's funny, I don't know. I think when it comes to the double warp wall, I love the concept of it, and who knows, like when you have that stressful time limit and pushing the tackle, like if you're gonna set up for the first wall or if you're just able to easily cruise on by it. Because comparatively, when it comes to 28, 29, 30, I think those we can all agree were easier first stages comparatively to 39 or any tournament since the tackle has been there before the warp wall. Um,
well,
so I think that is going to be an
28 was
interesting
hard, but
factor.
29
I yeah.
through,
Yeah.
yeah, I forget when the tackle was in, but like the tournaments after 28 before the tackle were overall pretty easy.
I
Yeah.
think the 28. I mean, we can briefly talk about the previous Sasuke's as well. I think the 28 course was they. I don't think they intended it to be as hard as it was. I don't think they expected the rolling escargot and the spin bridge to do as much damage as it
Yeah,
did.
that was a deadly combo.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the 29 and 30 course. The 29. I would argue that the 29 and 30 course in terms of difficulty combined with the field of competitors at that time. It was like it was really basic. Like I actually feel confident that even I could get through it with very little problems. Like that's how easy I found 29 and 30 to be.
It was fun though because it made stage 2 and 3 like a very heavy field, and it was very intense to see who could clear it. So it made stage 2 a very interesting stage, but stage 1 was kind of boring in 29 and 30 watching it. And when it comes to like the double warp wall as well, when it comes to like the easy and the hard wall, one thing that I've always said that I would love to see, that I would always wonder if it would actually make it harder, or even if they'd be willing to bring back this obstacle, is to have the first wall be a regular standard warp wall, and the second one be a great wall. I've always thought that would be such a cool combo.
Health and safety does play a lot of factors in the obstacles these days.
Very safe. Let's do it. I liked what Irish mentioned about stage 2. That like last tournament, stage 2 was the first stage 2 that I felt was good since probably 31. I don't know if you all can agree or disagree.
I would go even further back. I would go since 27.
Really? You didn't like 28 to 30?
I would go.
No.
I would go even farther. I would say since 25.
Well, I mean, 25, like 20, that 25, 26, 27 was. Yeah, that's true.
Oh, 26 was good too.
Sorry.
Here comes
it's all
Flame.
good, Flame. Flame has just joined the party.
Perfect timing. You haven't missed much.
Yeah, we're just talking
Have
about the
you
stage.
predicting the runs and talking about the course yet?
We're on
We've
the
just been
course.
talking
We're in the
about
middle of the course.
Oh.
What is your opinions on stage 1, Flame?
I'm whelmed. Like, I feel like if there was no total victory, this would be like a sizable upgrade, but I can't lie, I was wishing there was at least something else new.
Yeah,
But
that's probably
overall,
exactly what
don't
I
think
was
it's
going to
bad.
say. Yeah, that I was honestly going to say the same thing. I think in terms of a renewal, and I know it's like it's difficult to. You're having a lot of noise coming from yours, Irish.
Oh my bad. I just finished my water. It's my fault.
Oh, it's all good. Okay.
I think naturally when you think of renewals, you think of it's just any of. I mean, the first one you think of obviously is 18 because that just completely changed the field. So obviously it's unrealistic to think of that levels. But then if you think of the other 3 renewals, 5, 25, and 32.
Yeah,
they
the only
all
major
had,
drastic was 25.
Yeah.
They all had but they all did have significant obstacles added to them. 5 had the jump hang and the warped wall.
Yeah.
Irish.
It's more of the
Yeah.
more of the later stages that they did a lot of the big changes on. Like having the ultimate cliffhanger, for example, was a huge deal.
25, 25 was less so about stage 1 and more about stage 3. And then 32, I think. I mean, bringing the steps back, I guess, but that was somewhat. But then the double pendulum and what else was that? Was that it on stage 1? Oh, the TIE Fighter.
Oh, the TIE Fighter.
The TIE Fighter, yeah.
I think what Irish brought up was a good point, though, in that you don't want to make enough changes just to stop Yusuke from winning, and it's more of keeping that competitive playing field, and I think that's a very smart direction to go. Because I think there's a solid 7, 8 competitors that are legit and could get to the final stage, but there's only one that I would always bet on, and that's Yusuke.
But I think that could cause concerns in the longer term ish if because like I say it might be dependent on how this tournament goes. But if you get if we get a tournament coming up now where there's a lot of stage 1 and stage 2 clears, and then everyone's just beaten down by this new obstacle on stage 3 and the cliffhanger. I'm not sure if that will go down well amongst the community. I've heard very mixed opinions about 38. I rewatched it. Yeah, I have. When we watched it live, I think we all agreed that it was a great tournament. There were a lot of surprises. There were a lot of shocks. There were a few surprise successes, and it then ended with a total victory. Obviously,
What didn't
Yeah,
people
which-
like about it? I'm very curious now.
but I think, but when I then went
Editing,
back
I
and
think.
when I went back, I mean, yeah, some of this is on like the Maniac forums and stuff like that. But then people pointed out that I think from a like predictable point of view, there were a lot of things that you could like easily have predicted would have happened in this tournament. Maybe not so much on stage 2, but on stage 1 and stage 3 especially. And it was one of those where I saw these comments and then I went back and re-looked at the tournament and then I suddenly thought, oh, actually, yeah, they sort of have a good point because, I mean, there were a lot of joke competitors that got like deep into stage 1, like to the Dragon Glider, because the stage 1 was like the first, what was it, four obstacles?
Yeah,
Yeah, the first 4 obstacles were pretty straightforward because you've either done them before or they were just like easy. I am intrigued to see how effective the curtain slider is this time with only 1 curtain.
And a smaller dismount platform.
is it smaller? Okay,
I think
didn't
it's
know.
a little bit.
Puma reckoned it was the same, but I mean I don't know. I've not seen any of the pictures of the dismount platform.
It looks like it's not. It looks like it's the same style. Like it's not like a barge like the rope glider was, where it's like that like shaky thing that was very unsafe.
Yeah.
It looks the same as last tournament in terms of design, but it might be smaller.
Keyword there, unsafe. Other keyword, budget. I think there will be like die-hard Sasuke fans out there, I'm sure, that will have looked at this stage 1 and thought, you call this a renewal course? 1 modified obstacle? Or like maybe there's others, but like
2.
2, yeah, maybe. Sorry, the fishbone, of course. We haven't even talked about the fishbone. They have moved the pincers, the arms around. But
And
some
the
people
double
will,
wall.
yeah, some people will look at it and think like, you call this a renewal? 2 modified obstacles, everything else is the same, and then 1 obstacle that we haven't seen in 9 tournaments that you're bringing back. That's it. Like, I imagine there'll be some people out there that will have expected more. I mean, I'll be honest, even I possibly expected more. I might have expected better, but you got to work with what you get.
There could be like this false perception. I think a lot of people always look at 18 as like that's the staple of what a renewal is.
It's unrealistic now.
Yeah, I think you need to look more realistically, and also like modifying both the obstacle itself or the obstacle design is not an inherently bad thing, and it could really shake up how people perceive it. Like the fishbone could be like low key deadly this tournament. None of us could know that until we watch it.
This is probably the problem though that I would bring up in terms of the long term is that whilst it may be deadly in this tournament, once people have then figured it out, how are you going to? Because that's the big thing about when the Dragon Glider was introduced. When it was first introduced in 35 was a deadly tournament in terms of stage 1. Once people figured it out, it still does damage, and actually it did albeit it helped with joke competitors, but even joke competitors aside, it still caused plenty of damage to some big names in the last tournament.
What I think Sasuke is kind of doing to counteract that is that stage 1's almost become what stage 2 used to be, which is the speed stage. It's like they're hoping that the time limit pressure is going to cause people to make simple mistakes on obstacles that they might be accustomed to.
Does anyone remember? Sorry, go on, Ash.
Well, I was going to say, I think I said this to Flame the other day as far as stage 1 and the time, right? And it's kind of weird the way the time is set up just with the stage. And I think it's kind of similar, if you really think about it, to Smokey's, for those unfamiliar, Halo Ninja Warrior Tournament 21.
Anyone that's a Sasuke fan that's never watched this channel before, we do ninja-related things in a game called Halo.
Yeah. Also, subscribe to Extreme UK Gaming.
Yes.
That always
Anyway, where were we?
But no, so it's kind of weird in that the time waster obstacle is at the start of the stage, right? The big time waster. So Smokey had the stick shift second in 21. Sasuke now, for a lot of tournaments, especially since the time limits have been more and more strict, a lot of the telltale sign on if someone's going to clear are the first two obstacles, the steps and the rolling hill. And I made a comment that I would almost be more intrigued if they did, say, if they had found a way to do something else first for this renewal, right? And maybe it's, just full on, Goyan-Toby or something really fast, like a step slider or something like that.
Yeah,
and then
the
had a super
sadistic
tight
person,
timeline.
the sadistic person in me was going, what really wanted step slider into rolling hell. That would have been.
Oh my god.
Ow. But I guess, do you get what I'm saying, though, where it's like a lot of the time limit, I guess, for a lot of people that aren't good is going to be wasted by that first obstacle. Like, the prime example is like Karen, where it's like Karen every turn. She's getting better at beating the rolling wall, but then she'll have like 40 seconds left. And it's like, oh. I mean, that's where it's like you're gonna have these, average Joes now time out on the fourth obstacle, where maybe if you had a tighter time limit, but a little bit less variant first obstacle, the first two obstacles even, as far as the time it takes, I think you would be maybe a little bit more aggressive as far as the time limit, as well as the amount of people that have a chance to clear and thus maybe fail something down the line, I guess.
Does anyone remember what the time limit was last tournament in stage 1? I can't remember.
It was 90.
Okay, so
yeah,
I mean, extra 9 seconds for another warped wall. That could be.
I think the time was pretty lenient.
You reckon?
I think that's still pretty lenient. Well, assuming the first wall is the easy wall, I think people can cruise up that in about like 4. Yeah, people are going to cruise up that in like 5 seconds.
I think the problem is that every tournament, I feel like people forget how taxing the tackle actually takes on people.
I think I would,
and we're always
absolutely
shocked,
die.
like, how did this person fail the wall?
Yeah.
And unless you're Ryo Matashi, you waste 20 seconds on the goddamn warp wall every tournament. You're tired as hell.
Kawaguchi now.
Well, I was going to bring up Kawaguchi, but we can discuss this when we get to the individual predictions.
Yeah.
Kawaguchi is on our list. Puma we'll cover it, but yeah. There's we have put together a list of the people that we're interested in talking about, because we're not going to obviously predict all 100. Yeah, especially since like a quarter of these will get cut and you won't see them anyway, and then another like quarter of them will get fast forwarded anyway. So
yeah. So before we continue talking about competitors, though, we were talking about stage 2 before Flame came in, and I think stage 2
sucks,
now,
by the way.
I like this new stage 2.
This current stage 2.
I
think it's the best.
I like how everything's going.
There's literally no changes, though. Like, I get 38 stage 2 was amazing, but you couldn't have at least changed, like, one thing. Couldn't have finally gotten rid of the backstream.
I know the popular opinion is, get rid of the backstream, get rid of the spider flip, but I think the primary problem
Spider walk
is the salmon ladder. And I think the salmon ladder for stage 2 has run its course. It kind of puts everything to a ground halt, almost. Like, in terms of flow. And I think it's almost like, I don't know, it's that obstacle I feel like is being held on for nostalgia purpose. Like, I don't see how people... it's not a difficult obstacle anymore.
It's not the same as
there's only so many different variants they can do with it.
It's not the same. The 3 iconic obstacles, or the 3 nostalgic obstacles at this point, are the warped wall, the salmon ladder, the cliffhanger. And the cliffhanger, you can keep changing that till the cows come home. Like, that can just keep getting changed to make it harder or whatever for a long time. The warped wall, again, now is become a whole different level because of the tackle. Yeah. And I would have I do somewhat get where you're coming from. The big problem, I think, with if you took out the salmon ladder, is that you've lost your main obstacle for killing off, like, the celebrities or the random Joes that get to stage 2. Yeah. If the salmon ladder wasn't there, then you would have you'd have an even bigger problem
true,
because I think stage 2 has a serious balancing problem when it comes to actual failable obstacles.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
once you get to the back stream, you're in the clear unless you time out or drown. And because of that, if you took out the salmon ladder, you'd just be creating. I mean, yeah, obviously you'd have to replace it with something else that's failable, but you'd be creating an even bigger problem for yourself, I think.
Because right now we've been with the Kudari through 2 renewals now, and I get after 31 to 32 to keep it because you only had it for 1 tournament. But I feel like there's not a lot you can really do with the salmon ladder anymore that hasn't been done before.
Yeah, you can't create a triple salmon ladder. Put it that way.
You could make one where you have to move one side of the bar at a time. You could do what I think would have been cool, angle the actual things with the rungs backwards a bit, so you have to, when you're going up, you have to move the bar even further outwards before moving in.
Okay.
I think Irish,
that could hit someone in the forehead and cause injury, but I don't care. I'm Higuchi
Health
now.
and safety. Irish, I think out of the 4 of us, you're our resident ANW expert. I think AMW have done everything. Well, they haven't done everything possible, but they have covered plenty of varieties when it comes to salmon ladders on the Vegas course.
Overall, though, they've been pretty safe and boring salmon ladders. Actually, the one they had this year was pretty run-of-the-mill. So it was a double salmon, right? But you had the top rung was... so the top rung of the first side... so picture it's double salmon ladder, but the first side, instead of it being in reverse to the other side where you have to turn around and make the jump, you're facing the second set. But then the last rung is actually like a double-sided rung, where instead of there being
you get it on top of it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a flying bar cradle.
Right. Yeah. So that was really the best salmon ladder they've done in a while. But I'd say even with A&W, the salmon ladder is kind of running its course a little bit. Now, what I will say in regards to the salmon ladder on Sasuke now is with the rolling log and the spinning component.
Yep.
I think it is the tackle to warped wall combo answer. That's what we have on stage 1, where I feel like the warped wall honestly was stale for a while, and now I feel like it's incredibly more exciting than it's been in a long time, right? Where, it used to be with the time limit, someone who's fast, they could take 2, 3, 4 attempts at the wall. Now it's genuinely a lot of people get there and they got 1 shot to get the wall. I now obviously the warp wall is a lot more of a time obstacle. The salmon ladder is very technique oriented, and when you're spinning and dizzy, it becomes a little bit more difficult to do a proper technique for something like that. So I think now that the log is in, I think the salmon ladder is fine. Obviously the backstream is skill as far as the stage, but overall, would I like to have seen something new? Yes, obviously, but considering the excitement of that stage last time, I am curious to see what happens, and if it ends up not being a very good stage 1 or a very good stage 2 this time around, then I'd say, Inui might be a little bit more content making changes to make it a little bit more A&W-esque, but I guess we'll see.
I think the problem is still there in the back half of stage 2, but I agree. Seeing how a guy like Rio, because Rio's big problem is stage 1, and he showed in 36 that he can deliver. So when he cleared stage 1 last tournament, I thought, okay, we could be on for a good Rio performance this tournament. And then seeing what happened to him on the salmon ladder, and the fact that it wasn't the fact he was gassed out, it wasn't the fact that he didn't have the strength. You could just tell he was hanging off that. He eventually got to the point where he was hanging off the bar and he just had to let go because the dizziness, his head would have been pounding when he was finally hanging. And as someone who knows what that feels like, not doing a rolling log into a salmon ladder combination, but hanging upside down on an obstacle for too long and then having to do other stuff. If your head starts spinning and your head starts pounding, it becomes virtually impossible to carry on. And
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
I gotta
that,
agree with Irish. I think now it's added a whole new layer to the salmon ladder.
this rolling log, at least compared to its stage one counterpart, seems to spin a lot faster and more violently.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Health and safety,
interesting
ladies
to
and
see
gentlemen.
if Matsuda was able to build one and people are practicing it or
I don't think
whatever.
he did.
So it's going to be interesting to see how it continues to affect people. And when we go on to stage three, I kind of like how I know it's kind of the unpopular opinion, but I've liked how stage three has been in that the showcase is the cliffhanger and the vertical limit. And like almost if
Mhm.
someone fails another obstacle, it's almost surprising. But I do like that these obstacles, like in the early part, are more of just like hiring you out almost for the cliffhanger. It's like that's the main showcase, and I really like that idea of the stage three.
I gotta be honest,
Yeah.
I probably disagree. I think, again, it probably helps I was brought up on that sort of Sasuke 5 to Sasuke 17 era of stage 3, but I personally, I am a little disappointed that most tournaments now get to the point where it's just focusing on the cliffhanger and that's it. Like, even if it was just one obstacle, and maybe this new third obstacle will be the one that does it. Um,
Could be.
I would like to see a bit more difficulty
I think
before the cliffhanger.
I think pre cliffhanger obstacles minus the body prop have always had difficulty eliminating people. I think the closest Sasuke's ever gotten to a really hard obstacle prior to the cliffhanger was the floating boards, and they ditched it after one tournament,
Hmm.
which upset
Flame,
me.
go on.
Uh, yeah, stage 3, I did expect a ton of changes, and I am sad that it's yet another obstacle being borrowed from A&W, but I think the falling shelves, which is what it was called in A&W, so I'm guessing that's what it'll be called here, did a lot of damage, especially with its last jump being a blind grab where you have to grab the ledges where you can't see them. I think if it's like that in Sasuke, it could do a lot of damage.
Yeah. I I don't know how long I'm going to be around. I'm assuming I'll be around for the whole thing, but I'm just going to go ahead and state my hot take for the tournament. I think
Mhm.
we are. I think my hot take is no one's beating the shells if it is a reverse grab, like I'm suspecting. I think no one is beating it.
Wow.
Even worse than Sasuke 33. Is that what we're going with?
I that's as far as I'm going. And it's weird because like I genuinely think right like based on some of the trailers and stuff, like it's not a lock that certain people are going to get to stage 3, and I think overall you're looking at a move that none of the Japanese competitors have practiced, right? Where if this was A&W, I really hate beating the horse of, well, Sasuke is so far behind America now. But it's the truth, where you put a move like that is very American centric and very technical on a Sasuke course. And it's going to kill people considering like they've never tried anything like that. Like to have the ledge under, like you got to go underneath, grab the ledge, and then hold on as it swings forward. Almost impossible to do like on your first time trying it. So from what I've gathered, so I guess we'll see what ends up happening. But I really think it adds an interesting component now where you do have this big weed out obstacle before the cliffhanger that I genuinely think has the capability of ending the tournament. So yeah.
Can I just, so if we're assuming, and I don't know what the pictures were that showed off the shelf grab or the falling shelves, whatever it's called, um, if it's like the A&W one where the last grip is a blind grip,
Yeah.
I think it will be heavily dependent then on how close they put the landing platform for that blind grip, if the last grip is a blind grip, because if it's the sort of thing that, like, say, the drum hopper was, like when the drum hopper was originally introduced, where you can just immediately
yeah.
launch yourself onto the dismount platform, then I think that will take away from the difficulty, and I wouldn't be surprised if that is what they end up doing.
Or even like the cliffhanger Kai in certain tournaments. Like Tournament 9, you had to go all the way to the end of the last ledge, and then Tournament 12, you literally could jump from the beginning of the
Yeah,
You could
third
reach
ledge
out,
of
you
the
could reach
platform.
out.
they
Yeah.
cut out his cliffhanger run because he failed the transfer from the second to third ledge, but he landed on the platform anyway.
Wait, whose run was that?
Takeda.
Oh.
That's actually hilarious.
Can I
awkward.
clarify then two things? So the cliffhanger, I think Puma, you're probably the easiest to explain. Just where we're at now for the audience,
Yes.
as to what the cliffhanger is in its
So-
current form.
From my understanding, the first ledge of the cliffhanger moves like the final ledge, how it moves forward and backward. That's how the dimension is now. So all the ledges move instead of just the second and third.
Wow.
Oh boy.
So
And
it's
the-
going to be
so
interesting.
the course now is flying bar into Sidewinder, then the new
Oh, the
obstacle.
first ledge doesn't move, actually.
The first ledge doesn't move? Okay.
It does not move.
Okay.
Where did you see that at, Flynn?
There's like a sort of quote Navi thing today or yesterday or whatever, but not really. And it showed some pictures of the course,
Oh,
and it showed the dimension in the first ledge is the same.
Okay, so the dimension is the exact same then.
Yeah.
And then the vertical limit and the pipe slider are both still there.
I mean,
Which-
maybe this is old footage from 38, but I don't know.
Okay. Well, regardless, I think the cliffhanger dimension is a very good, well-designed obstacle. It's very hard.
I don't
I'm
think we've
intrigued.
really scratched the surface yet with it in its two tournaments. I mean, 37 was
Yeah.
obviously a cop out because of the rain. 38, I think, caused a bit of controversy with the fail from
The spot.
From Yoshiyuki.
Yeah.
the wet spot.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
wet.
So, after stage 3, we have one more change that we have to talk about, and that is the rock wall final stage. The first half of
Obviously-
it is no longer a spider climb; it is a rock wall, which
We
I am
obviously don't know
very
the
reminiscent
time
of
limit.
Kunoichi.
Yes. Kunoichi 7 had a climbing wall as the first obstacle.
Yep.
Which
And
I like
Kunoichi
as a
8
rock
also had.
as a semi-frequent rock climber, as a semi-retired rock climber, as a person that barely rock climbs anymore but used to rock climber. I like this change. I would like to say it's the change I like the most, but considering there's only two obstacles that are new across the 4 stages, I don't have much choice to go with here.
There are two things specifically that I want to highlight. I like that all the rocks are equal distance apart, so you can't get cheesed by that. It's all climbing technique like the Heavenly Ladder. And I like that you have to physically get on top of the rock wall at the end to get to the salmon ladder. You
I
can't
didn't
just
know
do
that.
a cheesy
Round, I
jump.
think, as well.
And turn around? Okay, that's good. It prevents that cheese of like you can just like skip a couple rocks and get to the bar.
It could be interesting. It should definitely take longer to do than the spider climb, which I think by the time we got to the last tournament, Yusuke had just made a mockery of like getting the spider climb done in about 7 seconds. Like this
Well, the
rock
spider
wall
climb was
obviously-
so short. I mean, it was a
yeah,
8-meter
that
spider.
helped.
Yeah.
That helped.
And the tower is an extra 0.5 meters, I believe, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
so
Yeah.
it's 25.5.
Okay,
So that should mean
that's
that
that's another effect.
that should
And
mean
then who
then
knows
that
how many
the-
rungs of the salmon ladder there are too? Because like the original version of the salmon ladder final stage had 20 rungs, and it got reduced to I believe 16 by the time Yusuke won.
15 or
Okay.
16, something like that. But
Go on, Irish. What were you going to say?
I think overall, I think it was very clear with the last final, right? That obviously they want the final stage in Sasuke to still have this reputation of being very difficult. And for me, it's still the biggest feather in the cap of Sasuke. Where, in comparison to watching A&W or other international shows that still have just this rope climb boring final. Sasuke continues to deliver these finals where it's genuinely like this is so intense in that the person really is going to have to earn it if they are going to win. And I think overall, with that kind of mindset that we've seen from Inui building finals before, I think the time limit is going to be insanely tight. I think I don't see anything above like 50 or 55 as far as a time limit. And I think with that, it's going to be very technique driven for the rock wall, which is another thing that people haven't really seen a ton of as far as like, okay, speed climbing. Like, I feel like I've seen videos, right, of them doing, like in training montages of them, doing a lot of hanging stuff. But now to do kind of the upper body speed obstacle like that, I think will be really interesting to see how it actually does play out.
I'm going to say, I hope I don't see the final stage this tournament, but if we did, I would, if it was me, predict a 50-second time limit. But
yeah, that sounds about right. So
I don't think we have anything else. So the only thing that we wanted to cover before we get on to individual predictions, just very quickly, is the people that are not going to be here this tournament. Which there are a few people on the list.
Yep.
Obviously,
the
most
high.
Sorry. Yeah, I know you take it, Puma.
Yeah, so there are a few people. The first person that is very notable that is going to be missing this tournament is Jun Sato. For those of you who don't know, he unfortunately had a leg injury and will have to miss this tournament.
Just cruciate ligament.
He is there in attendance, though.
Yes, so we will see him, but he will not compete. From
Takeda's record is safe. I believe
every person who gets close to getting Takeda's consecutive tournament without missing a turn, like without I guess consecutive tournaments in that there's no gaps in the tournaments.
He tied. So he achieved 10 stage 1 clears in a row, based on appearances in 38. He also tied Takeda's all-time record of 7 tournaments in a row, getting to stage 3 from 32 to 38. Obviously, with him not in this tournament, he will his
stage 3,
his individual record for appearances that will still be ongoing if he if he comes back and let's say he cleared in the next tournament he competed in. But he has now missed the opportunity to tie Takeda and Nagano's record of 8 tournaments in a row clearing stage 1.
And Takeda's stage 3 record.
Yes, and he now can't break. He obviously, as I say, the record books will say he has matched Takeda's record, so he is in the record books, but he has now missed the opportunity to outright take it himself.
Yeah.
Disappointing, although if he had been in the tournament, I think it would have been another nailed-on cliffhanger fail. Regardless.
Speaking of Takeda, unfortunately, Takeda has retired.
There we go.
We're going to miss him dearly. He was such an amazing competitor, especially with how it ended. The fishbone disqualification.
That rule
controversial.
So
it's I was going to say opinions controversial.
I thought it was a dumb rule. It would have been better if he cleared.
It's not unsafe to skip the last one.
I had only recently actually seen his run in full, so seen everything from the Dragon Glider onwards, and everything else was just so smooth, so solid, and the fact that he cleared with like 14.5-ish seconds left.
He would have had the 5th fastest time.
One of the best times from a guy who is in his mid-40s that would have just set the record for being the oldest competitor to clear stage 1, and he pulls out that clear time.
Exactly, yeah.
Very disappointing, understandable. He's had
I wish he could have gotten a final.
He's had shoulder injuries for many years. He obviously missed 37 because of his shoulder problem. So, in a way, not surprising. Some might say inevitable that this was going to happen. disappointing nonetheless. At least we can say we got him back. 25, having that 2 tournament gap, might not have known if Takeda would have ever been back. And then obviously the shenanigans of 28. So the fact that he lasted until 38 and was still performing to a fantastic level like that. And I mean, his stage 1 clears in 31 and 32. 33 and 34. Fantastic. Jumping into Nagano's arms, still one of the high points of the last. It's hard to say what you define as an era. I don't know. I would honestly just say everything since 28 onwards is still one era because it feels very samey with a lot of the course. But yeah, since 28, Takeda clearing stage 1 in 33 and jumping into Nagano's arms, still one of the best things I've seen in a Sasuke tournament. Just the sheer happiness. I think Puma can think of another competitor if they cleared stage 1 that could eclipse that happiness if he did do it. I guess the only disappointment I have is that the fact that his disqualification happened means he missed out on getting his 20th stage 1 clear, which would have been a nice way to cap it off.
Incredible.
Instead
he has
of
20 in my heart.
He has 20 in a lot of people's hearts, but sadly the record books will have him down still as the all-time stage 1 clear holder, but sadly it will be down as 19 clears. And as someone who knows what it feels like to clear stage 1 20 plus times, I know that feeling he would have felt.
And the last contestant that we have to talk about that is missing it is, of course, Nagano. He went back into retirement. Seems like it was just a one-off.
Next time.
I think he'll be back for 40.
Possible for 40.
Yeah.
Everyone, can I just quickly say, everyone was hyping Nagano, but based off of the trailer, that he had a chance of clearing stage 1 in 38. I was the only one. I was saying it all the way through. I probably said it on last year's podcast.
You did.
They were absolutely playing a trick with us. Why would they show him getting onto the Dragon Glider, giving away a spoiler like that if he did clear? I knew there was just something up with it. And
I thought they were doing 3D chess, whereas they want us to think like that.
Disappointing to see him fail the Dragon Glider, especially since he failed it the same way as Yamada. But just incredibly joyous to see him run the course again after his retirement.
Nagano is my favorite competitor of all time. I didn't care how he did. He could have just fell off the start platform on the quad steps. I still would have been ecstatic.
So Nagano,
very nice to have back.
Nagano epitomizes Sasuke. Nagano, in many people's eyes, is Sasuke. So, and I mean, the dude hasn't missed a tournament. He's still been on the sidelines for every tournament since he retired. He's obviously going to be here for this upcoming tournament. It really won't be the same until we get a tournament where he's not there. He's just not able to show up. And even with Yusuke's total victory last time, Nagano, it still shows how much of a big part of it he is, because he was there to see Morimoto get total victory again, and he got chucked in the water with Morimoto. The only other name that me and Puma brought up that's really notable that's missing is Mori, the actor. But he did miss the last tournament, I believe, anyway.
Yes.
Might be the end of the road. Might not see him again. He might have gone back into retirement. Maybe his squeaky wife finally finished him off. But
Jesus.
But without further ado, we do have our predictions. The best part of this podcast.
Yes.
So the way this works...
go on.
Oh, sorry. So for how this works for all the people listening, we are going to go in order from all the people of importance from 1 to 100. We're obviously not going to do everyone. All the people that we think are important. We're going to talk about them a little bit, and then we're going to say how we think they'll do. Sometimes I'll start off with the prediction first. Sometimes it'll be Hunter. Sometimes it'll be Flame. Sometimes it'll be Irish. And we'll continue onward. So
Is anyone?
we're starting.
Is anyone? Sorry, is anyone keeping track of this? Because I can't remember if
Yes, I
last
am
year
writing it down.
we. It's just if we say if they clear or not. Yeah, just to make sure we know who's who.
Yes, I
Um,
I am writing everything down. I wrote everything down last tournament. I think I just got
I don't
lazy
know
with
who won the
scoring.
predictions last year because Puma wrote them and I didn't. I think I wrote my
Not
own
me,
Yeah.
because I
predictions down.
thought Tado was going to the final.
Hey, I didn't win your predictions, but I did win the Sasuke mini guessing game last year.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
So
Let's go.
we are
It's
going.
far
Oh,
away.
sorry. Yes, so we are going to begin, as all great tournaments do, with number 1, and that is Torisawa. Unfortunately, he is not given number 3, but it is actually really fun to see such a famous competitor that, while he doesn't do good, he's a part of Sasuke, and he's very important to all of us.
A
kick
former
off the tournament.
Olympian doesn't get said often enough. A former Olympian who is the
He's
same
now-
age as Nagano. Never forget that.
Funnily enough, I think outside of Kenji Takahashi, has the most appearances out of any non-All-Star as well. So there's that too.
I miss Kenny.
So I will start with my predictions with Torisawa. And unfortunately, I think his road ends pretty quickly at the rolling hill.
Did he fail the
Mark me
steps
down
or did he
as
fail
well.
getting? Did he fail the steps or did he fail getting into the rolling hill last year? I can't remember.
I don't remember. Oh yeah,
I think it might have been
just,
getting into the rolling hill.
just for everyone for stage 1 clarification, you don't need to describe how people fail, but for the double warp wall, you have to tell me what wall they fail. That's. I will.
You know what?
I think everyone fails the first wall.
I'm gonna say Torisawa fails the steps just to be a little bit different.
Ooh, the quad
Ooh.
steps.
Flame?
All right, Flame. What do you think?
I am actually going to be semi-nice and say he is the first fail on the silk slider.
Ooh. All right, Rish. What do you think?
Rolling hill for me. I think
Hill. We got.
you might get to the downward section maybe with like 4 seconds left, but no, he's gonna find somewhere to
Hey,
screw
he's
up
not
there.
that slow.
Since I rewatched 31 recently, I was reminded that he was actually the first person to get on top of the rolling hill in 31 when it was obviously a new obstacle, and everyone treated it like he'd cleared the stage. The cheering. I mean, he even raised his arms. Yeah, woo! Yeah, it's gone really well for him since
After
then.
number 1, oddly, we get a competitor that, while they continue getting better, Sasuke's like, you get a lower number. Deal with it. And that is Koji Saikawa. He is 2 for 2 on stage 1.
Actor,
0 for 2 on
Action
stage
star.
2.
yeah.
Action
When-
star.
Where did he fail last time? Salmon ladder?
He failed the spider walk last time.
Oh, was it spider?
So he
Walk?
beat the salmon ladder. That he
He's the
failed
ladder
his
in
debut.
37.
Yep, he failed the salmon ladder in 37 and the spider walk in 38. So Hunter, how do you think Koji Saikawa does on stage 1? Do you think he
I'm
clears?
struggling to determine whether I want this tournament to be a positive or negative one, particularly since with how much we've been talking about the lack of changes to stage 1. But I will be negative, and I'm going to say he fails the fishbone.
Fishbone. Ooh. All right.
I'm intrigued to see how the
Flame.
modification plays out.
Flame,
So
how do you
I
think?
really like Saikawa. Of the quote celebrities, he's probably one of my favorites. And although I definitely think he can beat this stage 1, I think this is where his little streak comes to an end, and he's going to be a timeout on the second warped wall.
Ooh.
Irish, what do you think?
Pierce, there's a lot of negativity. I mean, I'm looking now. He's only number 9 in this tournament, and I feel like overall, like some of the new stuff, the new silk slider, the new fishbone variant, I think there's a lot of stuff that he's gonna have to almost figure out on the fly, and he's gonna fail neither of those. He's gonna fail Dragon Glider.
The Dragon Glider. Oof. You know, I'm gonna be the optimistic one in this household, and I'm gonna say that Koji Saikawa clears. I've been genuinely impressed by his progression, how dedicated he seems to it, how he just seems like someone kind of like Kenji Darvish or ABCZ or Snowman, where they're a dedicated celebrity and that they're continuously getting better. And I can see that progression. I think Koji, out of all of them, is the strongest, and I think he's the best out of them. So I am predicting him to clear. He'll be our first clear.
There you go.
However, if this next person cleared, I would be genuinely surprised, and that is number 10, Karen. So, Flame, I know this is your favorite competitor. How do you think Karen will do?
I think Karen is gonna clear the quad steps and fail Rolling Hill.
Irish.
You know what? I think Karen is going to defy all the odds and beat the Rolling Hill and is going to fail the Silk Slider.
You know, Irish and I seem to be on the same wavelength a lot, because I also think Karen will fail the Silk Slider.
I actually thought she failed the Silk Slider in the last tournament. I just looked it up and she actually got digested, failing the Rolling Hill. So I'm going to be super positive and say she fails the Rolling Hill.
Oh my god.
Hunter, I'm
Karen
Karen,
is one
how
of
much
those.
time left?
I think that's
will
my
she have?
favorite meme competitor. Karen's just become such a fun meme. I'm happy Karen keeps competing.
Not sure it's
She seems
necessarily a good
content
thing.
with that.
Yeah.
So
Also, I'm on Sasukepedia just to see how she's done lately, and on Karen's page there is one comment from JackMatt27 from May 2nd this year, and it's all caps as far as capital letters first word, or each word has a capital letter, and it says, "I want to date her." I'm like, oh. Thanks for sharing.
thank
All
you
right,
for
that's it.
sharing.
Can you
Goodness.
blame him though?
So the next competitor coming up is a little bit of a surprise competitor. He kind of showed up. He was like, "Oh, this is just some random dude in this clump," and he ended up clearing stage 1. He ended up failing the salmon ladder. This is his first time appearing. Sugeta Rene, who is number 20. Irish, do you think Sugeta Rene has a repeat performance of clearing stage 1?
I'm gonna say no, even though he's a younger competitor, and I think overall, like you said, had promise last time. I think it's another Dragon Glider fail.
You know, I hate how Irish and I keep agreeing on things, because I also agree. I think out of the three newcomers that cleared last tournament, he was the weakest. And you know how there's usually that one guy that's like, damn, how did this guy actually clear stage 1? Like the odd man out almost. He felt like the odd man who cleared stage 1. So I think he also fails the Dragon Glider.
Was there really 3 newcomers that cleared last year?
Yes, we're going to talk
That's
about our third
shocking.
newcomer.
I think I'll be honest, I actually also think he's going to fail the Dragon Glider.
All right,
Same.
all
Oh god, we're
right.
all
So
Dragon
we're all
Gliders.
agreed.
Quadruple crown.
All right. So the next one is our other newcomer, Kajihara Hayate. He timed out at the wall lift last tournament.
Fantastic.
He is number
performance.
35. And for me, I think it was a very strong performance, and he could have easily gotten to stage 3. However, I think this is where we're going to start seeing how the warp wall is going to affect people. And I think he is going to be a shocking, close timeout on the second wall. Hunter, what do you think?
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to remember how much time this guy cleared with last tournament.
I can look for it if you want.
I'm not sure if it was close or not, because that might
I
determine
know somebody
again.
had like under
He
3
cleared with-
seconds left.
He cleared with 10.22 last time.
I think I'm going to be positive and say he clears.
Ooh. That is Hunter's first clear of the tournament.
Yeah.
Hey, want to know something cool? Puma?
What?
He's also my first clear.
Wow.
Well, if we're talking like that, he's also my first clear.
Wow, man.
I think-
you guys are
Wow.
all optimistic.
I think him being 35, I think he's a little bit farther in. I think he's going to get to see some of the mistakes from some of the earlier people, and I think he is going to clear.
All right. So after his success, we have number 36, and that is Daisuke Matsuda. I gotta say, he's one of my favorite contestants. I know he's very old, and the fact that he loves building all these obstacles, continues participating, His daughter seems super into it. I'm all about it. Hunter, do you think Daisuke Matsuda finally clears stage 1 after having a very close call last tournament?
In my opinion, the Japanese Ninja Nigel, for anyone that follows my UK training scene, I think he's going to clear? Well, no. I think he's going to fail the... Did he fail the warped wall last time, or did he fail the Dragon Glider again?
He failed the wall.
I think he's going to take a step back and fail the Dragon Glider this time.
Flame, what do you think?
First of all, I love Matsuda. He is, if I had to pick like a top 5 favorite competitors right now, he's for sure in there. I think of all the competitors that are like older, as in older than 44, and theoretically could get the oldest clear ever on stage 1, I think Matsuda is by far the most likely to. But while I do think he has a chance of clearing stage 1, I don't think he's going to do it. I'll say double warp wall, second wall timeout.
Second? Irish, what do you think?
I mean, I'm thinking of his history, right? And he's definitely very replica-oriented, where it seems like once he's done something a few times, he gets pretty good at it. His old pal, the Fishbone, with the modification to it, it's going to get him. Because the reversal of the orientation or whatever, I think it's going to cause some problems for a few people, and I think he's going to be one of them.
I have 3 different failures looking at here, and I have to side with Hunter on this. I think the Dragon Glider will get him. I think he'll get past the Fishbone, but the Dragon Glider will bite him. So, moving on from there, we have our Black Tigers, and they're not our usual Black Tigers. Issa Yoshinori is actually running later with a different group. So we have number 49, Kawichi Soircho, competing for his first time as both a competitor and as a member of the Black Tigers. So as this new competitor, how do you think he will do, Flame, under the guidance of Yamada?
I know nothing about this guy, so I'm just going to go with my default, I don't know this person prediction, Dragon Glider.
Dragon Glider. What about you, Rish? Do you happen to know this guy more?
I don't, and I am going to go the same way, actually. Dragon Glider seems like a big newcomer killer, right? Except for last time. But I feel like overall, people with promise, they sometimes need to get almost humbled by the Dragon Glider. I think he's going to be one that does that and probably will come back down the line. I mean, he's only 23, right? So he could really be someone that does damage down the line, but I think it's very technical, and I think he's going to fail the Dragon Glider.
I think it's starting to get to the conversation where we can say that Yamada is actually a good teacher, and that he's actually doing a pretty good job as a coach. And I think this is going to translate with Kawichi. I think he has a very strong performance. I don't think he clears, but I think he times out at the second warp wall. And I think he shows a very good showing. He has a very good showing as a debut.
I was going to also point out the fact that the last 2 Black Tigers done very well. Has to be said, almost changed the game for the Black Tigers now in terms of taking them seriously. With that said, there's 7 obstacles on stage 1. I know nothing about this guy. Let's go down the middle. 4th obstacle, Fishbone.
Fishbone. Alrighty. So then this goes to Yoshiyuki Yamamoto, who last tournament arguably should have beaten the cliffhanger. There might be some controversy.
Second place finisher in the last tournament.
Yes. So, Irish, how do you think Yoshiyuki Yamamoto does? Does he live up to that, or does he let down?
I think he obviously made a big statement last time. He's got a little bit more expectations, but he seems like a guy that could be really promising in the future. As far as, carrying the show forward and being a potential guy that could give Yusuke a run for his money. I think he's going to clear.
Nice.
Clear for me, too.
Clear for Hunter, too. So I am going to say a very bold statement right here, right now. I'm going to let it be known. I'd say outside of Morimoto, Yoshiyuki is the best competitor.
I agree.
I think he's the second best competitor.
No.
I think top 3 is Yusuke 1, Yoshiyuki 2, and probably like Tada 3.
That's a good top 3. So, Flame, how do you think? Because I think he clears
Clear.
as well. You also agree. So we're all, in
all
agreement that
agreed
he
on a
clears.
clear.
Yeah.
At number 50
At number
as well.
50, yes. So now we are going to number 53, who is our only, as it seems, international competitor. And he's
He
a part
looks
of a group
international.
called... Yes, his name is Michael Kita. He might just be living in Japan, and that's probably the only reason why he's competing. But he is in a group called the Red Tigers, which is Issa Yoshinori, and I thought this was the group that had that weird lady coaching all of them and yelling at them from the side, but it might be a different group. But this is what the Red Tigers are.
I thought that was
and
Exile.
Michael Kita is in it. So I'm going to start with Michael Kita because I have him first, and I think he fails the fishbone. Hunter, what do you think of our only international competitor?
going to be... Well, the last time we hyped up the only foreign guy in a tournament, or one of the few foreign guys in a tournament, I think was that random dude in 37 who failed like the TIE fighter or something. I'm going to be...
guy, right?
I'm going to be a bit... Obviously, 37 had a lot of internationals, but we hyped that one guy up for some reason. I think I'm going to be a bit more positive and say he gets to the Dragon Glider.
Dragon Glider. Flame, what do you think?
I didn't know we were going to be predicting this guy, so I had to scramble. And
We just added him
I'm
last
going to say Fishbone.
Fishbone. Irish, what do you think?
What number is this guy? 53?
53.
He's young.
Might not even get shown.
Yeah, I'm gonna also go Fishbone.
All right. So from a random international competitor to a competitor who made the third stage last tournament, and that is Issa Yoshinori, who has left
Failed
the
the
Black
flying
Tigers.
bar. Failed the flying bar in
Yes.
the last tournament.
It was
Yes, he
sad
did.
miscalculation.
So he is now independent, no longer coached by Yamada, and has grown his wings and has turned them red, and now he's a red tiger. So Hunter,
Now
do you
he's
think
a
as a
dragon.
red tiger, he continues his success?
Well, this could go one of two ways. I expect there to be some kind of fluff piece on this new group, the Red Tigers. It'd be interesting to see like the reason. Maybe we'll get a reason in Japanese as to why this group has been created. Whether it's just a rival group to Yamada. I think this could go one of two ways. He could either continue his strong start because he's 2 for 2, and he could clear again, or he could be made to look like an absolute idiot for leaving the Black Tigers when he fails stage 1.
Well, he
I
failed
think-
Rolling Hill his first appearance.
Oh, did he fail? Okay, never mind. I thought he was 2 for 2 on. So is he 2 for 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
according
2 for
to-
3, yeah.
According to what I'm
I
seeing.
am going to go with the positive choice, and I'm going to say he clears.
Ooh, okay.
He gets the
Flame,
Red Tigers off to a strong start.
I am also going to say he clears.
All right.
I also think he clears.
I am going to be the pessimistic one of this bunch and say he fails the Dragon Glider. I think small setback. I never bought into him as a legit guy. I feel like he may have been propped up by Yamada. So, going from Issa, we have our first. Our second competitor that is probably pretty hyped to be about and could have a very strong performance, and that is Hyoki. Hyoki obviously has had an incredible career since Sasuke 31. So, Flame, do you think he continues his success?
I'm going to make a very bold choice and say no.
Ooh, where do you think
I
Hyoki
don't
fails?
know why. I just have this weird feeling something terrible is going to happen. So I'm going to say that Hyoki goes out on the Dragon Glider.
On the Dragon Glider. What about you, Irish? Do you have the same
That's-
pessimistic outlook?
I tell you what, we are like all as one. You got to think, right? The only time since he's gotten like prevalent that he's failed stage 1 was renewal
32.
tournament. 32.
Yeah, 32.
And I think overall, even though this stage 1 I think is overall easier, I think he's going to find a way to screw up somehow. It's going to be like this big tragic fail. It could be like a dismount fail. Dragon Glider.
Dragon Glider. Well, I I have had this weird feeling that I don't think Hyoki's going to clear. And I think it has not with a mistake, but I think his age is starting to catch up with him. I think out of like the older competitors, like 39 and up, he looks the weakest, and he's generally been the weakest. So I think that will catch up with him, and I think the tackle on top of the double warp wall will catch up with him, and I think he's a second wall failure.
You've taken the words right out of my mouth. I was about to highlight the fact that Hyoki is 40 in this tournament. And I also, I could see him, I could picture him clearing, don't get me wrong, but I've been positive my last couple of predictions. Now I'm going to be pessimistic and also say he fails the second warped wall.
Wow.
You gotta balance it out. I mean, I think we all hope he clears.
I could see him clearing,
Like,
but
he's also in my top 5 favorite people.
Hyoki is someone that I feel like to reach their Sasuke peak, and it's starting to go. I think he's going to start having a steady decline.
failed the cliffhanger again. No, sorry, he timed out on stage 2 last time, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a quick. We're not going to cover. We're not going to cover them, but we did skip over the Exile group. I did point out to Puma that there's the potential of a lot of screen time for the competitors in the late 40s and then all of the 50s, because you have Black Tigers, Red Tigers, and then Exile all running back to back.
The Rampage.
The first 48 runs could be sped through in about 20 minutes to then give us another 20 minutes covering the next 10 competitors.
It's a 5-hour broadcast.
And what's funny is from 60 to 74, there's nobody. And then we get to 75, which is Shinsuke Nagasaki, who has been, putting it bluntly, a disappointment as of late. So, Irish, do you think...
Sasuke 17 finalist.
It peaked too early.
Do you think that he is going to no longer be a disappointment?
I think he's had a bad run lately, and I think mentally, I guess he had a low last time, but I think mentally he's going to put himself in a position, right, where he's going to be really determined, right? Like, I feel like maybe it's not, like, I don't know if he didn't have the determination in the last few tournaments, but it definitely seems like the last few tournaments where he's really struggled, to me, it would put a big, chip on my shoulder, like, I gotta clear now. And I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to clear.
Ooh.
So, for me, I think Shinsuke, out of competitors that have competed at least 12 times, he still has the highest clear percentage. However, I think that's going to take a hit, and I think that will eventually fall. That is going to continue as he fails the fishbone. Because I think he's going to be someone who rushes, thinking that he's not going to have a lot of time, and is going to make a simple little mistake. And I think that's what gets him.
So he's 34 in this tournament. He's still in that age group where he can put in a good performance. And as recently as 35, he did show he can adjust. One of only 8 to clear the Dragon Glider and clear stage 1. One of only 8 to clear stage 1, and obviously he was part of the small group that cleared the Dragon Glider. Failed stage 1 3 times in a row since then. I think it's Dragon Glider, Fishbone, Dragon Glider, if I'm correct in saying that.
That is correct, yeah.
Saw his Sasuke 38 fail recently. I would argue the only reason he failed it the way he did in the last tournament was that he didn't get the bounce he wanted on the trampoline, and so he had to grab the bar not with reverse grip, which then, combined with the fact that the bar was going pretty fast, he got screwed over. He got stuck. Yeah. I think, you know what? I could get this very wrong. I'm going to say he clears. I'm going to agree with Irish.
Flame, what do you think?
I am going to disagree with both of you. And I think that Shinsuke is sadly going to fail the fishbone.
2 fishbones, 2 clears. And now, 76, Kano is back. He's had a couple of disappointing performances.
Not cleared stage 1 since 31.
Oh, can I say
I'm so happy. Kano's been through a shit ton since 31, and I'm glad that he's even competing at all. Unfortunately, I think he will not clear, but I think this is going to be a tournament where he shows that he still has some juice left. I think he times out at the second wall and shows that he's made a lot of progress. And honestly, yeah, again, the fact that he's even competing is a miracle. So I'm glad that he's still here.
Fine.
Hunter, what do you think?
Yeah.
No, we'll let Flame go first.
Yeah, because I'm going to have to leave for like 30 seconds to a minute.
Okay.
I'm going to say Kano fails the second warp wall. I will be right back.
Okay. Hunter, what do you think?
So, correct me if I'm wrong. So, he's had 2 separate injuries, like big injuries, that have made him miss tournaments in recent times. Is that correct?
Yes.
Because he missed 34 because of a cruciate injury or a knee injury or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he missed 36 as well, didn't he? With
Yes.
a separate injury. He then had that extremely emotional interview in 37, where I think that, to me, even though I couldn't understand anything he was saying, showed just how much Sasuke still means to him. Unfortunately, a lot of that emotion was then taken away from the last tournament, where he was given 10 seconds of coverage on a fast-forwarded fail, where he did a double backflip into the water off of the Dragon Glider.
Yeah.
Smokey was not happy with me for laughing at that fail. But it was funny. I'm sorry, Smokey. You're not going to watch this, Smokey, but I will say it. It was funny. I would love to see Kano clear again. And even though I was optimistic with Shunsuke, regretfully... no, you know what? Sod it. No, I'm going against all logic. He clears. That's no logic applied to that. He clears the stage.
Irish, do you have logic to your belief?
I have logic in that Kano is due, and I think failing the Dragon Glider 3 times in a row, surely at this point he would not fail it a 4th time in a row. The last time he failed an obstacle 3 times in a row, I want to point out, he beat it on the 4th with the crazy cliffhanger. I think he's going to defy the odds, and he is going to beat the first stage of Sasuke.
I'm back.
So Irish and Hunter believe Kano will clear. So then that goes to number 77, Yusuke Suzuki.
Failed the warped wall in the last tournament.
Yes, he did. He was in the 30s, so they've given him a boost in his number. Do you think
And they fully cut him.
Did they fully cut him?
I think they fast forwarded it.
Digest, according to Sasukepedia.
Oh, yeah.
They did clear stage 1.
Intro.
Did clear stage 1 in 37, though.
Yes, and he was a shocking clear in 37. So, Hunter, how do you think he does in 39?
I'm going to say warped wall again.
Which wall?
I'm actually feeling like he's going to fail the second warped wall, but he's going to fail it just getting to it. Like, he's going to clear the first warped wall and then time out before he can even have an attempt at the second warped wall. So it will go down as a second warped wall. But I also would not be surprised if he's fast-forwarded again, failing.
Flame, what do you think?
So you said he was a surprise clear in 37, right?
Yes.
Yep.
He's a surprise clear in 39 as well.
Ooh. Let me just point out once I get his age up. Carry on. Go on, Irish.
Irish, what do you think?
Yeah, he's old, but he
43.
is also going to clear.
43, and you reckon he'll clear?
I gotta say, I was on the Sasukepedia a couple days ago, and like they had this thing like prior to 38. It was like the pull-up challenge, or like they did like a promotional thing.
They
like
did
how
do a
many
thing,
pull-ups could they do?
Yeah. Like
Yusuke
Nagano did it on
Suzuki.
his boat. Yusuke did it on vertical limit ledges because he's a
Yusuke had an
psychopath.
absurd amount. Yusuke Suzuki had an absurd amount of pull-ups, and he's strong. Like I think he's a very underrated, strong competitor, and I think he will clear.
Wow. So everybody else is predicting him so I'm the pessimistic one again in this group.
Yep.
Funnily enough, Hunter, you and Irish right now have the most clears.
5
So,
clears,
you're not
isn't
super
it?
pessimistic.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wait, I have 6 right now.
How many
Wait, who's your
do I
sixth?
have?
Wait, so you have Kajihara, Yoshiyuki, Issa, Shunsuke, Kano. Oh yeah, and Yusuke Suzuki. Duh.
Oh, to point
I
out, even though I only have 5 right now, I would not be surprised if I might add
Irish
like
has 6.
two randos to this clear list.
Oh yeah, at the
Because
end
I
we
wouldn't
are
be
going to do a
surprised.
rando ad.
Yeah, we'll
So,
cover the rando count
with 82, we are going
at the
to
end.
what is our best chance of having a female clear, and that is Ayano Oshima. So we are going to start with Flame. Do you think that we have our third woman ever clear stage 1?
I really, really hope she clears. I think she definitely has the ability to, but I don't think it's going to happen here. Second warp wall.
Second warp wall.
I wonder what the
Irish, what do
extended
you
time
think?
limit is.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think
Yeah.
she's finally going to clear because the time was probably going to be like 3 minutes. I'm kidding, but I think she's gonna clear because of the extended time limit. All right, I'm also going to be right back. So
I picked Ayano to clear last tournament, and
Should let
it
you
was so
down.
close to happening. And I think right now there is so much excitement that she's going to clear, which is why I don't.
You know
think
what? Actually, I'm changing my prediction. Ayano clears.
Ayano clears. Okay. Well, now I'm going to be super pessimistic when I say that she fails the fishbone like she did in the past.
So she's only 27 in this tournament, so she
Yes.
has plenty of time on her side. She failed by dabbing her foot in the water, I believe, on the dragon glider and the dismount. I believe she's going to fail the dragon glider again. Probably not the same way, though.
So our next competitor had probably the funniest fail in the entire tournament. Smokey was laughing his ass off when Naoyuki
Outside
Araki...
of Bandai Man?
What?
Oh, yeah. No, he's talking about the guy that fell over the trampoline, you remember, early into 38?
Oh,
The
okay, yeah, that
funniest
was
fail
funny.
I've seen in years.
So besides that guy,
Besides
because I
him.
forgot about him. Naoyuki Araki had the funny falling into the small pool that they made specifically for the conveyor belt, even though there was never a pool there in the past. So with him and it falling into that tiny little pool, do you think he gets a rebound? Who was I going to ask? Oh, wait. It was supposed to be Irish, so I will go first with this. And unfortunately, I think he's going to fall into past mistakes. And if you remember, he had that amazing cliffhanger,
Stage 3 run.
Stage 3 run where he almost beat the cliffhanger.
36.
Then he failed the fishbone.
Yep.
Then he had the conveyor belt. I think he
Yep.
fails the fishbone again.
I also believe he's going to fail the fishbone.
I
Flame, what do you
disagree. I
think?
think he clears.
He clears for Flame. When Irish gets back, we will catch him up with the people that we missed. So we will just continue with 87, which is our next celebrity, ABCZ. We all love him. He is great at the alphabet.
The most flexible man in Sasuke.
Yes.
And a happy man.
He is very excited. I love his energy. But do you think that energy translates to success, Hunter?
He failed the warped wall last time, didn't he?
I believe so.
I think he is going to again. I would love to see him clear, and I think he does
First or
have...
second wall?
Oh, yeah, second wall. I think he does have the
Second.
ability. I don't think anyone's going to fail the first wall. I'm actually that confident about the first wall.
Well, I think someone could fail there, but I don't think they're going to get there. But, I mean, we'll get to him later.
Eh.
I made that same joke last time.
Flame, what?
all right,
do
I'm
you
back.
think?
Sorry.
Oh, Rish, I changed my prediction for Ayano, by the way, she clears.
Oh, nice.
So real
And,
quick, actually, we're gonna catch up. Irish, you only missed one competitor. Number
Oh, good.
86, Naoyuki Araki. He
The
fell into
car
the
man.
pool in the conveyor belt last tournament. How do you think he does this tournament in Stage 1?
I think he's gonna fail Dragon Glider.
Dragon glider. Ooh, so we have 2 fish bones, a clear, and a dragon glider. Nice.
And whilst you're here, continue on. ABCZ. How do you think he's going to do?
Ooh.
Turns out I was wrong. He actually failed the dragon glider, and he failed it in slider jump Sasuke 23 Nagano style. Controversial.
Yeah. Where the bar, but he wasn't given it a rerun. Darvish failed
No.
the same way, too, I think.
Yeah.
I think ABCZ
I don't think I've predicted one yet. I think the time overall is pretty lenient, so there's not going to be that many. I think he fills the warp wall.
First or second wall?
Oh, sorry, second wall.
Second wall. All right, Flame, back to you. What do you think ABCZ will do?
I hate doing this because he seems like such a just high energy, happy guy, but I just think he's failing Fishbone.
Fishbone. All right, so Hunter just said a couple of minutes ago that he doesn't think anyone will fail the first wall. But I think ABCZ will be the one person who fails the first wall. So I have him timing out on the first worked wall. So with one celebrity, we go to the next. Number 88, Hikaru Iwamoto, also known as Snowman.
Cleared stage 1 for his first time in the last tournament.
He did. So Flame, do you think Snowman comes back?
No.
No.
First wall, second wall.
Second wall.
I mean, congrats to him
Irish.
for having a very good-selling debut album recently.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, God. What?
I think
Do
it's gone
you think
platinum.
Frosty the Snowman has some magic left in his hat, Irish?
Oh. He said we'll be right back again.
Oh,
Oh,
oopsie.
yikes.
All right,
Uh,
so I will say Snowman. I think I agree with Flame and that he fails the second wall.
Don't know why. Maybe it's because I haven't had many clears for a while. I'm going to say he clears.
Ooh.
I'm going to say he follows up his breakout run last time.
So next we have Ryo Matachi. He cleared stage 1 for the first time in a while. Unfortunately,
Since 36.
yeah, it was a while.
He's actually on a good run of form. 2 clears in 3 appearances.
First time in about 2 years.
My problem with Ryo is that he's gonna do well. He's gonna kick ass the entire first stage, and then he's gonna get to the damn warp wall with not a lot of time, and then dance around like a complete moron and time out on the second wall. So Ryo fails the second wall.
For anyone that's not watched one of these podcasts previously, Puma has a serious problem with people that step up to the warped wall and look at it,
It's so
and then
stupid.
turn
Just
around.
do the wall.
Like,
And then to...
I'm back.
I kind of agree.
It's just
I
so
kind of
stupid.
agree with
It
that
wastes so much
assessment.
time. I don't like it.
Like,
Okay, yeah.
there's some cases where I think it's fine. Like, for example, if there's a half pipe attack leading into it in the plank
Yeah.
to the wall, it's like
when there's not a
halfway
lot of run up,
equal.
but there's enough run up, and I just
Anyway,
I
yeah,
don't
what
like
do
it.
you think? How do you think he's going to do, Fam?
Like, I really needs.
Snowman is
Oh, Hunter, wait, Hunter, did you say how Rio's gonna do?
No, I'm going to get to... I was going to do mine last, but... Well, Flame can cover Rio first if he wants, and then Irish can do both.
Alright.
Snowman, Rio. Yeah.
Rio, really, you could say he fails anywhere on this stage. I don't think anyone would really disagree because he's so bipolar on the course.
That is true.
Like, I really considered saying Silk Slider, but I'm not going to be that mean. I'm going to say it's a second wall timeout.
All right.
Okay. Irish. Snowman first, very quickly.
Okay. Snowman Dragon Glider.
And then Rio.
Rio is gonna not do a stupid, and he's gonna clear.
Ooh.
Rio will clear.
Everyone has a lot more confidence in Rio than I do. He's failing the fishbone, pure and simple.
Fishbone. I remember when he ate it on the fishbone, but I think he was
Yeah.
on his left.
He has a fishbone problem, and I think he's going to get a hat trick of fails on it this time.
The one thing you can say about a Rio run, you will always be entertained, no matter what
Well,
he does.
I know. I think the one thing you can say about a Rio run is you cannot predict what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because you could
that
get
is
the
true.
good, the bad, or
for
the
all we know,
disastrous.
He could get to like the pipe slider or something this tournament.
Yeah. So number 90, we have our perennial guy who can make it to stage 2, but can't happen to beat it.
Not
and that is
beat it.
Kyotaru Yamamoto. So Hunter, do you think he gets there for the 6th time?
Yes, I believe he will, and we'll probably speed things up from stage 2 onwards because we have been going for a little while. But
Yeah.
I will cover. I'll cover Kaitaro now. Hugely disappointed last tournament, and his rolling log fail to me sums up that I do not think he will ever clear stage 2 at this rate unless something changes very quickly. Maybe in this tournament because he's hit 30. In this tournament, he is now 30, but I do think he clears.
Flame, what do you think?
I also think he's gonna clear.
Irish, what about you?
Clear.
And I say he clears too.
I know we were discussing like the top three strongest guys. I think if we're also discussing the top three most consistent or like the go-to reliable people on stage one, him, Jun Sato, and Morimoto are probably the big three for
Yes.
consistency.
And speaking of someone who's been readily consistent as of late, and that is Tatsuya Tada. Flame, you picked him to go to the final stage last tournament. Unfortunately, he did not. But do you think he clears stage one this tournament?
I do.
All right. Irish, what about you?
You know, early on in his career, he really struggled with stage one, and obviously he's done better in the last few tournaments. I think he's a guy where if he beats stage one, he could go really far. I think he's going to fail Fishbone.
Fishbone.
Mm.
Ooh.
I am going to agree with Flame, and I think that he will clear.
I believe he will also clear.
Awesome. So now we go to my favorite competitor. You all know who my favorite is, and that is Shingo. I love Shingo. I would love
Wait,
to
I
have
thought
him
you
back
meant
at stage
Boonpei.
one.
That's your
No,
favorite, right?
Boonpei is the least deserving All-Star. And that's for a
Anyway,
different time.
Shingo, what a
Wow.
guy! Appearance number
So,
39.
Irish, do you think Shingo in his 39th appearance clears?
I think Shingo will get to the Dragon Glider and fail it for the third tournament in a row.
I sadly, last tournament I was not optimistic. I said he was going to fail the Silk Glider. It was the first time I didn't pick Shingo to clear since we've done predictions, and he almost cleared. And I was like, damn, he almost did it if he would have gotten that grip. And I think it's going to be another tournament where I'm like, damn, if he would have gotten that grip on the Dragon Glider, and he's going to fail the Dragon Glider.
Mm.
You think he's going to fail it the same way?
Yep, same way. That's how Shingo
Flame?
does.
I do not think he's gonna fail the same way,
Just
but
not going to get to it.
I think he's gonna pull a Sasuke 16, and
no.
his foot
The
touches the
foot.
water
The
on the
foot.
disc.
We're going to see a
Oh my
reenactment
God,
of the
unbelievable.
greatest line. The
Um,
foot.
So it's a good thing we've sped through these last couple of runs because I could talk plenty about Shingo's run in the last tournament. Keep in mind, last two tournaments he has been the best All-Star. I know 37 was by
That's not a lot of
default.
competition, though.
37 was by
I mean,
default.
38
Don't get me
kinda
wrong.
was, but
38
he technically didn't.
he shouldn't have.
Best.
Don't get me wrong. And he almost beat the Dragon Glider in the last tournament. He had the tech. He for once he got the trampoline right.
Yes.
He had the grip, he had the technique, he had the swing, he had the jump. He missed the bar with his hands, and I think if he hadn't done that, I think he would have beaten the obstacle. Keep in mind, almost failed the fishbone in the last tournament. Pretty lucky to get through that. I think he's going to break his shoulder on the tackle and fall off the side of the course.
Oh, God.
Really?
No. I think he's going to. I think he's going to fail the fishbone, unfortunately.
Ooh.
Damn.
I hope. But you know what? I think I do this every tournament now. I predict Shingo low in my predictions so that when he does better than what I predicted,
You feel
I'm pleasantly pleased.
So, this next contestant was a shocker. I didn't expect him to come back. And it's Takeru, 94.
The boxer.
As happy as I am that he is back, unfortunately, I have to say that he will fail the second worked wall. What do you think?
So I believe this is his first appearance since 35. He
Correct.
cleared stage 1 in 31 and 32, and then, like many competitors, struggled with the faster, shorter time limit in 35 and failed early. He clearly, I think, when he did compete, he was really passionate about it and he took it seriously. I think he is going to have a good run, but I think he will fail the Dragon Glider simply because he didn't try it in 35. So this will be his first experience of it.
Okay.
So I will say the Dragon Glider.
Flame, what do you think of Takeru?
I have seen videos of him practicing the Dragon Glider at Matsuda's obstacle garden, whatever, in his backyard. So I think he's gonna beat that and beat the next two obstacles, which means he beats stage one.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Takeru on stage 2. What a shot.
Definitely justify his high
do you-
number.
Irish, do you feel the same way?
Well, so I will say to Hunter, Hunter said he cleared in 31-32,
That
when in
33 and
actuality it
34.
was
33,
33-34.
I thought,
But
did I
I'm-
say?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm on the
Oops.
same wavelength as Hunter. I think he's never attempted the Dragon Glider. You can practice it as much as you want. It's still dangerous when you actually attempt
He's
it on the
practicing
course.
with the guy who is the perfect example of practice does not make perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is going to fail the Dragon Glider.
So, yeah, I think those are. I think Flame has a very bold take. We'll see how it goes. And now we're going to our final
But a
Black Tiger,
possible take.
the coach
Oh, it's
of
very
the Black
possibly
Tigers,
clears. But
the man, the
Last
myth, the
five.
legend, Tatsumi Yamada. Hunter, how do you think Yamada does?
Yamada's run in the last tournament was one of the first times in years I've been smiling through a Yamada run, simply because he was smiling through it. He actually allowed himself to enjoy a run. Like, low-key, modern Yamada is so much more chill and enjoying Sasuke now, and it's just a shame he couldn't do this 20 years ago. I think he will adopt his granddad slow pace that will allow him to just take an age to get through the obstacles, and it will get him to the Dragon Glider, where he will fail again.
Flame, what do you think about Grandma Yamada? Or Grandpa Yamada?
I think that Yamada, he's gonna speed through the quad steps because for some reason he's always fast on the very first obstacle, but then he becomes snail. He's gonna slow his way through Rolling Hill, maybe beat Silk Slider. Actually, he will beat Silk Slider. And then he's gonna be slow enough to where he gets bonked off the side of the fishbone. He fails there.
Oof. Irish, what do you think?
I thought about going Silk Slider, but I feel like that's a little too bold. I think he fails the fishbone.
As much as I would love to see Yamada clear for the first time since Sasuke 12,
What?
I have
Since
to agree.
October of 2003.
Yeah, he will fail the fishbone, in my opinion. And now, from probably one of the most polarizing contestants in history to the most polarizing contestant of modern Sasuke history, Kenji Darvish.
Oof.
Flame, what do you think this Golden Bomber does?
I am gonna say that this fake drummer is going to fail the second warped wall.
Second wall. What about you, Irish?
And probably gonna cry.
Do you have faith in the Darvish?
I agree with Flame in that he is going to be crying at the end of his stage 1 run, but he'll be crying tears of joy because he will have finally cleared stage 1 for the first time since 36.
Unfortunately, I have to agree with Flame in that he will be crying, but also he will be soggy. I think he fails the Dragon Glider.
I am toying between Dragon Glider and Second Wall, and his fail in the last tournament was controversial because he failed the same way as ABCZ.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be positive. I can't see him failing the Dragon Glider for a third time. If he did, it might put him into retirement for good. I'm gonna say he fails the second wall.
We might need him to
Maybe
do
this-
good for the
maybe
sake of
this
Sasuke's
first-
ratings.
Maybe this
Ratings.
third tournament in a row will finally get him into a lower number than the last 5.
So,
But ratings.
yes,
Yes.
we need him to do good
Just
for
give him
ratings.
100.
No,
So
no,
they
no.
did
Actually,
that to
please
Hiromichi
don't.
Sato in Viking 3 for some reason, so I wouldn't put it past them. So 98, Kawaguchi, Tomohiro Kawaguchi. He's been a little inconsistent as of late, but do you think he fixes his inconsistency? Irish.
It's tough. I
I
think
do, but I do agree this is a tough one.
I can't believe I'm going to say this. I think he is going to fail the second wall for the third tournament in a row.
Wow.
I think it's a mental hurdle at this point. To fail it twice in a row, I think he's going through a Rio phase where I think it's a mental hurdle that when he does get by it, it's going to be a big relief, and hopefully he'll get it in his head that he can do it. The problem is I'd never think of him as like a fast competitor, and I think his wall technique he's struggled with the last few tournaments. So I think he's failing the wall.
I think he has had this block in him, but I think also Kawaguchi is someone that I believe can get past a setback. I think Kawaguchi has shown a lot of perseverance, and I think, yeah, he is, I think, 41 now, but I think he's still very strong, and I think he will clear.
Flame, you go first.
Kawaguchi, looking at the past two tournaments, up to the wall, he's actually been very fast. Like, I think it was in 37, he was maybe like 3 seconds slower than Jun Sato's pace. So, like, he is capable of going fast. So he'll get to the wall with like 20, the second wall with like 15 seconds left, I think. Maybe 20. But he's going to time out there.
Okay.
I agree. I was going to bring that up with Flame. You could put the 37 fell down to controversy because it's what killed Yusuke as well. I could just tell, like 38, he got to the warped wall very quickly, and he looked set to go. Yes, he did pull the Puma hates the technique. He did do that, but he at least had the time to do that. The problem I discovered was he took one attempt at it, and I could instantly tell after that one attempt he was failing because his legs were just gone. He just had nothing left in his legs. I'm a little bit surprised he's 41, actually. I didn't know that. He still looks pretty young for 41. I regretfully think, and I'm not the biggest Kawaguchi fan. I've put that on record in the past, in previous predictions, even though he has done well. But I do think he has reached his limits, and regretfully, he's going to be on a downhill spiral now. Similar to Rio, similar to Kano, similar to Shunsuke. He's going to fail the second warped wall, I'm afraid.
So, from
I hope he clears.
Kawaguchi, we have the first of our two-time grand champions, Yuji.
Yes.
And I'm excited to see Yuji. I think in 37, he was so close to getting to the final. And I think he still has a lot in the tank. I think a lot more than a lot of people think he has left in the tank, and I think he will clear.
He stepped up his game, I have to say. When he went through that phase, 31, 32, 33, it looked like it was the beginning of the end. And even though he threatened retirement in 34 and he did clear, I honestly still didn't believe after 34 that he was going to bounce back. I thought like, on a good day he could clear stage 1, but he was never going to have that great run again. And even though he failed the warped wall in 35, there was just something in that run where there was something different about Yuji from that point onwards. Yes, things didn't work out for him in the last tournament, failing stage 2. I hope to be proven wrong here. I think he's going to fail the warped wall.
Oh.
I hope to be proven wrong because Yuji has really impressed me, but I have a bad feeling with the time limit and just the modifications to the stage. And the fact he's like, what, 43? 44?
Yeah. 43.
43.
What about you, Flame? Do you have optimistic or pessimistic view of this?
While I do think Yuji's second wind is impressive, I think it might be getting close to the end of that. But it's not the end of it yet. He's clearing.
Clearing. What about you, Irish? Do you think he still has stuff in the tank?
I think he's going to clear.
All right. So then this goes to 100. He needs no introduction. Our most recent double grand champ, possibly the GOAT. Some people may say that he is now the greatest Sasuke competitor of all time. Yusuke Morimoto.
Shall we keep this simple? Shall we
That'll
keep
be
this
next
simple?
Are we
podcast.
all going to say he clears? Because I think he is clear.
I think he clears.
I think he
Does
glitched.
anyone?
Yeah,
does anyone reject
not
that?
think he clears?
Let me say something.
Oh, oh,
I think he clears, but
okay. Oh,
we know from trailers that
Rain.
he's old.
UK's one weakness appears. Mother
Rain.
Nature.
The rain. Oh, no.
I
Oh.
was extremely tempted to say that he was going to be a double wall timeout,
Oh.
but I can't bet against Yusuke, so I'm just saying he clears semi-reluctantly.
So
I have to say the trailer was seeing him in the trailer was the first time I actually thought he looked old, or like he was starting to look old.
He's like 30 now, I think.
he's 29,
Yeah,
I think. 29, 30.
Oh God, really? Well, then I dread to think what he'll look like in 10 years if I think he already is starting to look old.
So now that we have reached stage 2, the way this is going to work is that we are going to go, as a person, I'm going to talk their entire stage 2, so like the way that they have it. So for example, Hunter, his first clear is Kajihara Hayate, and then I'll ask him how he thinks he's going to do, and it goes down until all of his clears.
Can we just
okay.
very quickly?
Fast.
Obviously,
Do the
we'll.
randos.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
we
are going to
will-
do
yeah,
randoms. I was going to bring
We
that up.
we will obviously speed up from this point onwards, but just obviously very quickly, as we've said, how many randos do we each think is going to clear? I'm going to say 2, which I believe
2
puts my
randos.
clear count at 11.
I will do a quick count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes, Hunter has 11 clears this tournament with 2
Not
randos.
necessarily like 2 randos that get fast forwarded. Like I imagine both will be shown in the broadcast, but we don't know who they are. Like we don't know
So
anything
Flame,
about
you
them.
have 11 clears without your randos. How many randos do you have clearing?
This might be seen as a bit of a hot take. I don't think any randos are clearing.
All right, so Flame is sticking with 11 clears. Irish, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You have 12 clears. Do you think any randos are joining those 12?
Yeah, I have 2 randos that I have picked out that we've not talked about, but I think have a very good chance of clearing. I guess you don't need names, but I'm going to give you names anyways. First one I'm looking at, number 79, Oba Miwa, only 23 years old, but a professional climber.
Oh,
I think
forgot about him.
that is someone that intrigues me just by his profession. Climbers have tended to do well lately on ninja competition. And I guess alongside that, I think number 93, Yudai Ikeda, is also going to clear.
We could be
Who is
massively
the
proven wrong.
Japanese
They could
representative
both
for
fail.
speed climbing.
They could both fail like Rolling Hill.
We could be proven wrong. Yeah, we could be proven wrong by these 2 quote-unquote randos that are at 93 and 95. They could both prove to be strong competitors.
Yeah.
So,
That rock climbing mascot, like at number 7, honestly, I think has a tiny chance of clearing.
He's going to win content.
I have
Yeah.
8. I have 8 stage 1
Backstreet will be complicated, though. That costume might not survive.
Anyway, yeah. Anyway, Puma.
I surprised myself. I didn't realize how low I had. I had only 8 stage 1
You're the
clears.
most pessimistic out of all of us.
I am adding 1 random to have 9 clears.
Still the
Wow.
fewest. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
to clarify, so you got 9, I have 11, Flame
Flame has 11 and
as
Irish
well.
has 12.
I have
No,
14.
14 now
14,
with
yeah,
the randos.
sorry. Irish has
Same
14
as
with
last
the randoms.
time.
It wasn't intentional, but I think it's very possible.
So
I don't think
the way
stage
that
1
we're
this
going to
time
do
is that
this,
much harder.
we are going to do it from highest clears to lowest clears. So we'll
cool.
do Flame because we'll do Irish, Flame, Hunter, me. So we'll start with Irish. How do you think your how do you think your randos do? Let's say how your randos.
Let me take a look at this here. Okay. Can I do this in order, actually?
Do you want to do it in? I was going to do numerical order.
As long as
besides
we're
randos, but yeah.
quick, yeah. As long
Since
as
you
we're
have
quick
the
with it.
randos named, we could do it in numerical order. So how do you think
Yeah.
Kajihara Hayate does?
Yeah, I think he is going to. I think he's going to clear.
You think he's going to clear? Oh,
Okay.
Is this
I
the
think-
one who just timed out at the end of stage 2 last time?
Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
Yoshiyuki is going
Black
to.
Tiger.
I think he's going to time out at the wall.
What?
Ooh, a shock. All
I
right.
think-
What about
I think-
the red tiger, Issa?
I think Issa is going to time out at the wall.
We don't know what the time limit is on stage 2, do we?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But
I think
we're just
Naga.
guessing.
I think Nagasaki. That's weird because it's like he's old now. I used to think of him as like a speed guy, and
He's had some spider walk
really
issues
want-
in the past.
I don't think he gets there. I think he fails the salmon ladder Kudari.
The Kudari, oof. All right. What about Kano?
Kano, I think, is going to fail. Oh man, this is where I think I'm losing the plot here. Kano, I'm going for a shocker. I think Kano fails the rolling log.
Oh,
He has
no.
failed the first obstacle of stage
And
1 in
the
the
impact
past.
with the water is gonna like shatter his rib cage or something,
Oh,
knowing his
no.
injury history.
All right. What
No.
about Yusuke Suzuki?
I think Yusuke Suzuki is going to clear.
Ooh.
I think this is going to be my dumb take. I think this climber dude, 79, Obamiwa, I think he's getting to stage 3.
All right. We have Rando on stage 3. All right.
Like
What about
Irish's hot
Ayano?
take.
Do you think we have the second woman ever to
Oh.
stage 3?
No, but it's weird because it's hard to tell like how much they would nerf the time limit for, right?
That's true.
We haven't seen like a genuine stage 2 time limit for the woman that isn't like 10 seconds, other than like the 10 seconds for like Jessie. Like, for all we know, she could get like a minute extra. But I think regardless, I think she's going to fail the rolling log.
All right. What
right.
about Rio?
Rio, I'm assuming he's practiced the rolling log. I think Rio at this point is going to get by the salmon ladder, but it's going to time out at the wall.
At the wall. Does Kiyotaro finally have his first clear?
He's going to fail the spider drop.
The spider drop. Oof. All right. And then what about your second rando?
I think he is going to Yudai Ikeda. I think will fail the salmon ladder Nobori.
Salmon ladder. Ori.
Oh, this is a
And
bloodbath
then-
stage.
And then we got Darvish.
Last time he was on stage 2, he cleared it.
I think Darvish with the spinning. I think he's going to fail the salmon Kudari.
Ooh. And then we got Yuji.
Yuji is going to clear.
Yuji will clear. What about Morimoto?
It had been talked at one point about how obviously the rain in the trailer and also Yusuke. This is very hyper analyzing. He's not been super active, like posting about the tournament, I feel like, on social media like he was last time as far as results. And I think overall the consensus is that people, like, he's going to have some sort of disappointing failure somewhere. I think he's going to time out on the low lift.
Ooh.
Hmm.
So that leaves Irish with 4 people on stage 3.
Jesus.
Wow.
You
All
know what,
right,
I
so
might
let's
actually have
go
to make
to-
I might have to make an adjustment. I'd forgotten about that point about Yusuke. The fact that lack of social media
Yeah.
posting might impact.
You guys might be
But Flame first.
overanalyzing it. Yes,
Flame
Flame.
first.
How does
The
Kajihara
reason-
Hayate?
The reason
yeah,
I
how
said
does-
Hyoki failed stage 1 was me analyzing a trailer.
Oh,
I saw a person with relatively long hair failing the dragon glider, and I just assumed it was Hyoki, because why not?
So, how does Kajihara Hayate do? Do you think he does
He
how Irish
just
breaks it?
barely timed out last time. I think he's
Yes.
going to improve and clear.
Clear. All right. How does Yoshiyuki Yamamoto do?
I'm also going to say he clears.
All right. Gotta write that down real quick. All right. And then what about Issa? Do you think he gets it 3
I'm
straight?
also going to say he clears.
oh no.
He's
So
going to
that
the
great
opposite
stage, that great stage 2 we had last time is going to shit the bed this time.
So what about Yusuke Suzuki?
Hunter,
Oh.
let me tell you something. You're wrong. Suzuki Kudari.
Okay.
All right. What about Ayano?
Ayano, I hope she does good, but I think Spider Walk due to her wingspan.
All
Hmm.
right. And then what about Araki? Does he avenge his conveyor
Araki,
belt
I'm gonna
fail?
say is a wall lift timeout.
All right. Does Kiyotaro finally get to stage 3?
I don't know what's more likely, a Keitaro stage 3 in this tournament or a Yamada stage 2 this tournament.
Oh God!
Wow.
That bad.
Wow.
That bad.
I'm gonna say Keitaru gets to the wall lift and times out.
Oh.
All right. What about Tatsuya Tada?
I'm gonna say for the first time in a while, Tada clears.
And then what about Takeru?
I'm gonna say, I don't know why. I just feel like someone's gonna do it. Takeru's gonna fall in the little pool behind the reverse conveyor.
Ooh.
What about you? Do you think Yuji will also suffer that fate, or do you think he will succeed?
Yuji, due to age, I was a lot more hesitant to say this than a stage 1 result, but I'm gonna say he improves from his result last time and clears.
All right. And do you think Morimoto joins him as well?
I also think he clears.
All right. So
that's
you
11
end
down
up
to 6,
with
I think.
6 people on to stage 3. So Hunter, how do you think your 2 randos do?
First rando fails going up the salmon ladder. Second rando fails going down the salmon ladder.
All right. So then, how does Kajihara Hayate do?
No logic applied to this. Simply doing this because Irish has pointed out the bad weather. He's going to be slippy slidey on the spider walk.
Ooh.
All right.
And I mean, I'll be
how
honest.
does-
I'm putting him there on the basis that I think one person will fail the spider walk, perhaps due to it being slippy. Might not necessarily be him though.
All
but I
right.
will
So then,
pick
how
him.
does Yoshiyuki Yamamoto do?
He will clear.
Clear. And now Issa, the red tiger, does he join the black tiger?
The other thing I'm going to assume, which is probably not going to happen, is that this stage 2 will be tough on the time limit. So I'm going to say Issa times out on the wall lift.
All right. Does Shunsuke finally make it back to stage 3?
Glad to see him back, but I am going to say I don't even know if we've touched on this with Shunsuke. I think one of the reasons why he struggled is his lack of practice. I think his lack of practice is going to cost him on the downward part of the salmon ladder.
Ooh, the Kudari. Ooh. And now does Kano, in his grand return, finally get back to stage 3?
Not done a lot of these stage 2 obstacles, and the ones he has done, not done in a long time. I think he's going to go too slow, and I'm going to say he times out at the beginning of the wall lift, so it could end up being a conveyor belt fail. But I'll say wall lift timeout.
All right. Does Snowman improve on his stage 2 performance last tournament?
Where did he fail last time?
He failed the Nobori, I believe.
Is that going up? I can't remember which way
going
is
up.
which.
Same ladder.
In that case, then I will say improves by failing on the downward, going down.
All right. Does Kiyotaro Yamamoto finally clear?
He will avenge his rolling log fail, but then forget that he hasn't practiced the salmon ladder while dizzy and fail that, Rio style.
Oof.
Oof.
And then Tatsuya Tada, does he clear?
He clears.
He clears, and does Morimoto clear?
Simply based on the social media side of things, I'm going to say no, he times out the wall lift, which I think gives me
You
2
have
stage
two
3s.
Yes.
Oh my god. I thought I
Yeah.
had that stage.
Yoshiyuki
For a 5-hour
Yamamoto
broadcast,
and
I'm
Tatsuya
getting
Tada.
2 stage 3s.
They
This
are
is
not
my...
gonna cut out anything for stage 3 if this actually happens.
So my stage 2 is optimistic. So my random, I think he fails the Kudari salmon ladder. Koji Saikawa, I love this guy. I think he's not going to clear stage 2 this time, but I think he will next time. I think he fails the wall lift, he runs out of time. Yoshiyuki Yamamoto, he clears. Yusuke Suzuki has a dangerously close tournament, and he just times out at the wall lift. Kiyotaro Yamamoto finally breaks through and finally touches the buzzer. He clears. Tatsuya Tada, he clears
Wow,
as
that's-
well. And then
this is-
Tomohiro Kawaguchi, there's always that guy who fails the spider walk, and that's going to be him. And
Jeez.
Yuji Ujihara and Yusuke Morimoto both clear as well, which leaves me with 5 people on stage 3. So we'll start with Flame because he has 6 people on stage 3. So we'll start with Kajihara. How do you think he does on stage 3? Also, you have to specify what if someone fails the cliffhanger dimension. You have to say the first flip or the second flip. That's the one thing I ask.
Okay. Kajihara, I'm gonna say, fails the Sidewinder.
The Sidewinder. Ooh. All right. What about Yoshiyuki Yamamoto?
You know what? You know what?
You gotta
I
do
have
it.
analyzed the trailers, and I'm saying it. I think Yoshiyuki Yamamoto clears stage 3.
Oh God.
All right. So we have a stage 4 finalist for Flame.
I'm gonna be so wrong, but I don't care.
Does Issa join his former Black Tiger?
I do not think so. He fails the falling shells.
Falling Shells. How does Tada do? Does he make his second appearance on stage 4?
Tada is gonna have a repeat of the previous tournament, failing the second transfer on the dimension.
Okay. What about Yuji? Does he beat the pipe slider unlike last time?
I don't think he gets there. Falling shelves.
Falling Shells. And what about Morimoto?
So we've all been hyping up some big disappointment to possibly happen to Yusuke. I think it happens here. There's going to be half of this stage 3 field failing the falling shelves, including Yusuke.
Ooh. All right. Falling Shells. It is. So I'm up with 5 people. Yoshiyuki Yamamoto. It's funny. I was in the same boat as Flame. I was like, I think he could clear. And then I was like, nah, that's crazy. I'm going to put him at vertical limit. But you know what? I just have that feeling. And I think Yoshiyuki Yamamoto clears. I just got it.
Yeah.
Kiyotaro Yamamoto, I think, has a lot
Finally
more upper
gets
body than a lot of people think. He's very strong. And I think that gets him to the cliffhanger dimension. However, his inexperience with it will cause him to fail the first flip. Tatsuya Tada has beaten the dimension, and I think he will this time. Unfortunately, I think the vertical limit will get the best of him. Yuji will get the second flip. He will clear the first one. Unfortunately, I think the second flip gets him. And Morimoto, I remember I was talking to Flame the other day, and he said that Morimoto recently bought rock climbing shoes. And that thought me like, hey, maybe he just struggled at the rock wall on the final stage a little bit. And he needed to practice his rock climbing. So I think he clears and gets some rock wall experience on the final stage.
So you've got 2 stage 4s.
2 finalists.
Yes.
And I only have 2 people on stage 3. I'd like to point out
Yes.
to the audience.
That's okay,
So,
Hunter. I'm about to go
Irish,
make
We
a
have
custom
11 and
stick.
2. Is that the same numbers as H&W 20?
Yes, I did realize that as well.
So, Irish, you have Kajihara. How do you think he does?
Kajihara Hayate. I think I'm going to be so pessimistic with this stage 3. I talked about it a little bit earlier. I think he's going to fail the shells.
Okay. How does Yusuke Suzuki do?
I think Yusuke Suzuki, I think he's going to fail the shells.
How does number 79 do?
Actually, I'm going to take that back. I think Yusuke fails the Sidewinder.
Sidewinder. Ooh. All right. So how does 79 do?
I think he fails. It's weird because I think he beats the Sidewinder. I got to determine if he beats the flying. I think he beats the flying bar. I think this dude, rock climber, I think he fails the falling shells.
Falling shelves, and then Yuji is your last man standing. How does he end up?
I think Yuji is so talented, but he's never done a reverse catch. It's gonna be so funny when this tournament happens, right? And it's like, oh, there's no reverse catch, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I will be devastated as far as my
Both of our
guesses.
predictions would be ruined.
He's failing the falling shells, and the tournament ends on the shells.
All
I don't think
right.
anyone's
So
eating it.
Hunter, you and your grand total of 2 people. How does Yoshi?
It's pretty ironic that
do?
I've been talking up at the start of this tournament the fact that the limited changes could give us a lackluster tournament, and then I've gone and hyped up the most pessimistic, negative tournament we've had in probably since about 33, maybe even
Yeah.
longer than that.
Maybe
I
since
think
like 20.
26.
I
Yeah.
I think since even though I've been pessimistic this far with just 2 people getting to stage 3, these guys are both good, and regardless of whether we get the shelves wrong because there's no reverse grip or whatever, I think even if there is a reverse grip, they're just going to cop out, and the dismount platform is going to be really close on the reverse grip anyway. So I'm going to say the Black Tiger fails the second transfer on the cliffhanger, and Tada fails the first transfer on the cliffhanger. I was really struggling to decide which way round I wanted them, but I'll go with Black Tiger first place.
We have some final stage people. So I have 2 people, so I will go first. Yoshiyuki Yamamoto, I think in his first experience, has unfamiliarity with the rock wall and unfamiliar with the pace of how the salmon ladder works. I think he gets to the salmon ladder. Unfortunately, I think he fails the salmon ladder. I don't think he even runs out of time. I think he just fails it.
He pulls a Renee.
Yep, he pulls a Renee. And then Morimoto, I think he's going to be very close to winning even a 3rd time. I think the rock wall is going to set him back, and I think he just times out on the rope climb. How do you think
Which leaves
Yoshiyuki Yamamoto does on your final stage, Flame?
Okay, so I agree with your assessment that he's probably going to struggle on the rock wall and salmon ladder, but I think he's going to just barely get to the rope climb before timing out.
All right. So
I
our
just
first
realized-
places for each of
Yeah,
us.
that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, so I have Morimoto as first place. Flame has Yoshiyuki Yamamoto. Hunter also has Yoshiyuki Yamamoto, and Irish has a 3-way tie for first place.
I guess so.
Is one of those 3-way ties Yamamoto?
Yeah.
Because in which case, if that's the case, then 3 of
You
us
said
have
Yoshi
predicted.
timed out on.
Oh, did you?
Wallace.
Sorry.
Yoshiyuki Yamamoto is not his stage
Okay,
3.
so in that case, then just 2 of us, not 3, only 2 of us have predicted a Black Tiger to finish in first place in this tournament.
Who would have thought we'd be saying a Black Tiger would get first place at all? Remember when we all thought Black Tigers were a joke?
Remember when we thought the only Black Tiger that would ever be good was Sega Man?
Oh my god, yeah. When we
I
thought
miss
Sega Man
him.
was the pinnacle of the Black Tigers.
Now he might not even be in their top 5 ever.
Yeah, I don't think... I'd say he's still top 5.
He's still top
I'd say
5
he's
at the minute.
at 5.
Might depend on how
Or
this
I'd
new
put,
Black
like-
Tiger does.
Yeah.
But these were some awesome predictions.
I mean, I don't want to
This
throw out the
tournament's
simple
either going
questions.
to be amazing or terrible. There's no in between.
It could be a bit lackluster. It could go lackluster, and I think one of the reasons it might be lackluster is if the minimal changes are proven by a significant number of clears on stages 1 and 2. I think if we get, put it this way, I think if we get more clears on stage 1 than we did in the last tournament, and I can't remember how many there were in the last tournament.
There were 14 last time.
14.
Because I predicted 14.
14 asterisk.
If we get 14 or more in this tournament, I think that stage 1 will be considered a failure on that part. Stage 2 might be a bit more difficult because there was only 5 clears last time, and stage 2 did do its job in the last tournament. So it's hard to say. But personally, I would be a little bit disappointed if we do get a final stage, simply because they clearly would have wanted to make this stage Yusuke proof, and if Yusuke is seemingly the only person that could do it, if he or anyone else did it, I do think maybe the producers and maybe the fans might consider it a disappointing tournament. But I'm still looking forward to it nonetheless, as are all of us.
Yeah, we just need to find a stream for it.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
anyone here any viewer happens to have a stream,
Rich
that
said he was
they can
looking.
send- We would greatly appreciate it.
Since I botched the details last year, I'll let Puma take the lead on this one, on when Sasuke 39 is actually happening, because I mucked it up.
It is happening, correct me if I am wrong, anyone, December 28th?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And
the time,
it would
though,
be
is...
at 5:30 a.m. my time, 6 p.m. Japanese time, I believe.
Yeah.
So
I
did you
think
say
Starting at 4 a.m. your time. 4 a.m. Eastern.
4 a.m. Eastern my time?
Do we know what time? Because it's 6 in Japan, isn't it? 6 o'clock in Japan.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what,
that's
that's
a
when it
14
started.
hour
That would be
difference
3
from
a.m.
me.
for me.
Okay, so yeah, it would be 4 a.m. for me.
We've definitely come prepared, audience. Hang on.
As long as there's no boxing match in the middle of this fucking Sasuke.
Oh, good job. If that's the
Fuck
reason,
the
it's 5
boxing
hours.
That was a
so
waste of an hour.
Japan is 9 hours ahead to the UK. So 6 o'clock in Japan in the evening would be 9 a.m. in the morning UK time on the 28th of December, which would be 4 a.m. Eastern and 1 a.m. Pacific for those watching there. And anyone else, like if you're killer, figure it out yourself.
It'd be ahead. It'd be like 9 p.m. for him, I think. It'd be ahead of when it's actually airing in Japan.
I joke, of course. Any New Zealanders or Australians or people from where Killer comes from, I do love you all. We support anyone. We support all.
Give us a link to Sasuke, please.
Yes, that too.
We would
Yes.
appreciate it.
Anyone watching from Japan, just leave a link.
or
I know.
You're watching this.
I know we're
Where
jokingly.
the camera is pointed right
Yes.
at the TV.
I know we are joking about finding links. We will obviously have links by the time the tournament comes out, whether that's on whatever platform that may be. We just obviously don't know them at the moment, and we never do because these all come out.
I remember one
second.
time we did have to have Smokey literally host a Skype call, and he had the camera pointed at the television.
I do think if we get Smokey this year again watching with us, he will remain exactly as he did last year and be watching the actual TV broadcast, which will be about 4 minutes ahead of our streams.
Yeah.
So he's going to be pointing out stuff like what happened with Araki and the conveyor belt pool. Like low key, guys. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Let me know when you get to it, and you'll know. And when we saw it, we definitely knew.
Yeah, see, I'm a boring person in that, like, all these people, like, I know you guys and some of my other friends will like to watch Sasuke together, and then, talk about it live. I always wait until after, just to kind of, I don't know, it's like the equivalent, even though, I talk about how much easier the courses are and how a lot of the originality of obstacles has kind of gone away with Sasuke, it still feels like, to me, like the biggest event of the year as far as Ninja Warrior in general.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
I'm always excited for it. And
I think the only downside of watching it with people is that everyone's stream is at a different time. So some people are ahead
very
and they
difficult
accidentally
to follow.
spoil.
Like, that's why when we all watched it last year, whenever we got to Yusuke's final attempt, I think it
Yeah,
might
good job
have
of
been me, it might have been
everyone
someone
was on
else.
mute. Everyone was on mute.
Yeah, like-
Everyone was quiet.
Yeah.
We all got to experience it.
Yeah.
Um,
Then we were all done. We all exploded.
I have to agree with Irish. Unless, with the greatest respects to A&W, I think unless you're American, or unless you live in America, I'm sure there are people in the UK and in other countries that are hyped when A&W is on the TV. But yeah, for me, it's just for me. It's
Nothing
always
can beat
Sasuke.
the classic.
Sasuke, yeah. All right. In which case, we will. Irish is leaving us. We're about to finish up anyway. The only thing I want to say that's left is hopefully we do get a good tournament and it's not a damp squib. Renewal tournaments have been somewhat controversial in recent times. For whatever reason, Sasuke 25 is still the lowest rated Sasuke tournament in history. Don't know why. I still like
I think
it.
37 technically was lower.
Oh, as if okay. I don't know any of the recent ones, but
Those are the bottom two.
25 for whatever reason, yeah. 28, I think, was good, but
It was just boring.
it was pretty boring, wrecked with the whole All-Star retirement thing, and equally ruined by having to look at that stupid woman at the dinner event every 30 seconds. 32 was an okay tournament. People considered it controversial because of how much they botched the editing and how much emphasis they put on the foreign competitors, particularly
and
the
the weather
Americans.
and the first place person as of
The
yeah.
weather didn't help. The first place person couldn't have predicted that, so I think I'll let Sasuke off for that one. So they have struggled with renewal tournaments. I'm hoping that is not the case this time. And if we can't get that, then I will be praying for the only other thing that I want to come out of this tournament, which is a Shingo Stage 1 clear. But I'm holding
great.
my breath.
We would love that.
That'd be pretty
I'm
neat.
holding my breath on that one.
I'm going to be optimistic. Although I didn't predict it. I'm going to hope.
Well, I guess we're going to close this one out now. Don't join us next week for the next podcast, because there won't be one.
Join us
as
next year for Sasuke 40.
Yeah, woo! Go watch Spider-Man, because that's what I said in the last podcast. Go watch Sasuke 39 when it's broadcasting. Go watch Kingsman. That comes out on Boxing Day. I don't know. I'm hyping up everything. Go watch Ninja Warrior of Halo. And on that note, guys,
Go watch Spartan Ninja Warrior as well.
on that note, I think it's time for us all to say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.